One is a grown man with an encyclopedic knowledge of cinema. The other, a man-child raised by the more questionable corners of the internet. What happens when they each dive into something the other one loves? Find out on
The Man with No Brain. All right, everybody, welcome to episode number 31 of The Man with No Brain. I am your host, Ryan Matthew Ziegler, and as always, I am joined by the man with no brain himself, a guy known in some circles on the internet as the man with the plea brain, Mr. Joseph Robert Buckley. How you doing, crying Uncle Joe?
First of all, okay, I would never cry on the podcast. That's not my thing. Second of all,
Uncle, no more trying.
No. I thought it was in my best interest. You know what? I didn't really want to be bored for 4 hours, so I decided, you know what? I'll throw the fans a bone and do a little live stream for them.
Sure. Well, normally if you're thinking to yourself, hold on a minute, you guys said that you wouldn't bring up Joe's sketchy joke stealing and the trial.
Absolutely not.
And you are correct, except this episode is the final time because this is our wrap-up episode about the trial, where we're going to find out, throwing all the bits out the window, throwing, all the crazy cocaine lawyer stuff outside, and just focusing on how Joe Buckley himself felt about the entire process and the hiatus that it led to from him being on Man with No Brain and Malevolent Movies as well. So, but before we jump into too deep, there was a question I wanted to ask you, but I forgot to ask you last week. Have you had the new Pepsi Blue yet?
Oh, no, I didn't even know there was such a thing.
You're a soda aficionado like myself, and the Pepsi company put out Pepsi Blue, which that was out in like 2002 and 3 or something, maybe it was 2004. I can't remember, for a short while. And now they've, much like they did with Crystal Pepsi, they put out this summer Crystal Blue, and I had a bunch of it back in May. And I had too much of it. I haven't had any since, although it's good. I liked it. I just had wondered, if you had gotten your mitts on it.
No, I haven't imbibed. What is it, like a little splash of blueberry maybe, or what is it?
Well, it's blue in color, and it kind of tastes like a blueberry cotton candy, at least to me anyway.
Ooh.
That's what it kind of tastes like.
You're telling me there's a cotton candy drink?
It kind of, to me, it does. So if you can get your hands on it, I'd like to, hear your opinion on it, because you are a soda man. We all know that. You love your sugary drinks. You love your carbonated beverages, and it's a limited drink. So I wanted to see how you felt about it.
Yeah, I'll definitely try to get my hands on it before they snatch it away from me, like all good things.
If you ever
my nacho fries, my Baja Blast.
If there's ever a drink you wonder if Joe Buckley would like it, just ask yourself, will this drink turn his tongue a different color? If the answer is yes, I guarantee you he'll like it.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's because I hate my pink tongue. If I can get red tongue, a yellow tongue, blue
Brown
tongue. No.
They call that the old Buckley tongue.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'll definitely try to find some.
All right. Well, yes. So we're going to kind of cover Joe's thoughts and kind of get all of our thoughts really, but Joe's in particular on how he feels about the trial now that it's all said and done. And of course, he has yet to do his live stream punishment, but we are in the planning stages of that as well. And that will hit before the summer ends. So, man, Joe, it's going to be a long day for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of fun little movies for me. Like every single Adam Sandler film just played all at once on the screen. So just like 12 bad movies all at one time. Speed 2, I bet's going to be a big one.
Have you seen Speed 2, or are you just going on the idea that it's considered a bad sequel and it was a flop? Or have you seen Speed 2?
I will not be watching Speed 2.
Okay,
well, that's not for you to decide.
Well, unless you guys pick it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's going to be stuff that we know you profess to dislike, even though you probably haven't seen any of these movies.
Yes. I just don't like the idea of
movies.
No, I love movies. I don't like bad movies.
Well, nobody likes, I shouldn't say nobody. I mean, we have an entire channel dedicated to it, I guess. But
yeah.
I mean, nobody wants to watch something that they end up hating. You know what I mean? But the thing is, you don't know until you watch it. You can't judge a book by its cover.
No,
You
no one
can't
can.
judge a
Even
Buckley
if
by the kind of crust it has on its shirt.
Yeah,
You know
even
what
if
I
the
mean?
book cover is covered in feces and like there's just human skin inside the book and there's just Nazi swastikas on the cover, you can't judge a book by that cover.
Anyways, Joe,
Yeah.
we've covered. This is well-tread ground here.
Oh, sure.
The idea of you hating movies and your opinions being made by other people. But today we're going to get your opinion, 100%
Okay.
your opinion about the trial and the entire process. So let's start right at the beginning, Joe. Right at the beginning, when discovery happened, when Nick posted what he had found out in our group chat, which was the clip from that fuck was a podcast called? I can't
Last
remember
podcast
it.
on the left.
Yeah, that's right. I'd never listened to it previous. But when you first heard that clip, what were your first intentions? Your first impressions?
Yeah. Oh boy, here we go.
So actually, Joe, I have a question about this. Are
Yeah.
you going to be approaching this conversation? Because I know Ryan and I are hoping that it'll be just a real and honest thing. And who knows, maybe we'll get more truths than we did before. But in regards to when Nick, because I think he posted a video of him, his radio, because it was he was listening to it on his car radio, and it has one of those screens on it, and so you could see the last podcast information, episode name, etc. I'm trying to dig that back up, that area, so I can read it to the fans what our conversation was like. But when you first saw that image, or at least you started playing it and realized what it was, what was your honest to God first thought?
Basically, oh boy, I'm going to be in for it now. There's no way I'll have a chance to explain myself.
And was that before you heard somebody utter "my pee hurts," or did you?
No,
already know?
I listened to the thing.
Okay.
Because
Because again,
time-
like I did not knowingly steal that from the episode. So it's like whenever I heard it, I was like, oh shit, I probably did listen to this back in the day, and it probably got stuck in my brain. But I was like, well,
Then why
there's no
didn't you
way
just
the
say that?
guys. I
Why
did
didn't you
say
just
that. I
say that
did.
today? That's right there. That is all we wanted. Right there, Joe.
Oh,
right
okay.
there.
I thought I
That's
did
all-
say that.
No. You were at, first of all, you were at your grandma's. I remember
yeah.
you saying
Yes,
you'll
yes.
give us your more attention when you get home from your grandma's house.
Well, again, I was
And-
helping them. They're very frail people. They need my help.
Well, fine, but the point is,
Oh shit! Perfect timing.
Hmm.
Ryan, come back, because Joe Buckley needs to get spanked.
Absolutely not. I've got these M80s for my defense.
try.
Ryan, you cut out, buddy.
Oh shit.
I'm sure it was beautiful.
Yeah. Where did what was the last thing?
It was right when you started launching into it.
Was it after he said his grandparents were frail?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. 'Cause that was what. But the thing is, Joe, you didn't come to us with what you just said. Had you done that and said, "Oh yeah, that's funny how stuff gets stuck in your brain," or anything, that would have been it, man. We would have laughed and moved on and teased you a little bit, and the man with no brain would have progressed as usual. There wouldn't have been a trial or any of this. But you didn't do that, which was your honest thought. That was the honesty. Instead, you like doubled down on this idea of and you just kept rolling with it.
Well,
So I'm
because
glad
like
we finally got a piece. Finally did this quickly, got a little honesty out of you.
no. Because like I said like, oh shit, I may have accidentally lifted this, but like because you guys wanted like the confession of no, I knowingly stole this joke, which I didn't do. So
No,
Yeah,
Joe,
yeah.
Yes. So technically, I'm convinced that you knew you did it. I'm convinced. I don't think
No,
you could
no,
convince
no.
me. I get you.
I
But you need to understand that for me, the Albert Fish stuff is the smoking gun, because you hammered that so much that all I can think of is that before you started hanging out with us, like just before, you had listened to that, you thought it was the funniest fucking thing in the world, so you wanted to tell those tales. I'm not saying that you stole the Albert Fish stuff, but you just had to share that with somebody else because you thought it was the funniest thing. And via that is where the My Pee-Pee Hurts stuff came from. I'm convinced that you knew what you were doing. Now, I'm not, we have an agreement here that says that you get to continue to plead, or that you feel like you're innocent of that. But in the eyes of the law, you're guilty. So I just want you to understand that, like, there's a couple different ways to look at this. It's not just that we wanted you to say I'm fully guilty, so spank my bottom, judge. It's just that, like, you could have, like Ryan was just saying, all you had to do was say, well, yeah, that is from last podcast. There's a chance I'm, unintentionally, and like Ryan said, we would not have done what we did.
That'd have been the end.
Yeah.
Yeah. That'd have been the end. There'd have been some jokes, but it never would have gone any farther than that.
This would have been an inside joke thing.
Yeah. Because, I mean, the thing of it is, it's been like years and years since I listened to that podcast. So it would have had to be like in my mind, like, hey, I've got a good line I can lift from a podcast I listened to 5 years ago.
But Joe, you're telling me that you listen to Last Podcast on the Left once and only once?
I mean, yeah, basically, they've got so many episodes now. I'm completely behind. I haven't listened to like 150 episodes of it.
Well, sure, but like your Ron and Fez obsession says otherwise. That there are things. In fact, your video game playing is you're a man of comfort, and you like to hear the same things over and over again. So it's just so hard for me to believe that you naively did this. I think it's either that or you definitely did it intentionally. But there's no, I just can't believe that it's what were the fans saying? They were saying it's group think or whatever that's called.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the phrase "my pee-pee hurts," it's like a thing that like a 3-year-old says. Like
here's Joe defending himself again.
Yeah.
No, we know your defense again. It wasn't just the phrase.
Yeah.
It was the fact that the intonation, it all was very, very, very similar to the recording from the podcast. And the fact that it was a podcast about Albert Fish, and you had Albert Fish was, as people listening now, when they think of Joe Buckley, they think, yeah, or Nuggies, or his funny haircut and his comb. But there was a time where the most recognizable thing to Joe Buckley was serial killers.
It was like,
we talked about this before.
Thing.
Yeah, it was like Joe Buckley equals serial killers. Serial killer talk, that was his thing. If he was a sitcom character, every episode he'd be talking about another serial killer. I mean, that was it. There was not all this other stuff, the Plex and all this other stuff that now is also associated with the Buckley. That came later. Joe was always about serial killers. All the passing the buck segments on the previous 99 Cent Movies podcast about the Making a Butcher the Bakers. Joe would have serial killer knowledge, and it was full. He had a lot of knowledge. But Albert Fish, I'd be honest with you, because I've never been a serial killer aficionado. I had never heard of Albert Fish until you.
I don't think that was had.
He's like a tier 2 serial killer. Tier 1, it's like Dahmer, Gacy, Gene. He's tier 2. Yeah. He's not quite like an A-lister baseball player, but he's definitely dependable home run hitter.
I get what you're saying. He wasn't in pop culture in America. Everybody knows Dahmer. Everybody knows John Wayne Gacy. Everybody knows Charles Manson or whatever. But yes, I see what you're saying. But Albert Fish, I mean, it was completely a blind spot. I never even heard the name before. And I'll never forget, especially hour and a half long drive from Chicago to Grand Ridge to drop you off after you came with me to work on the thing. You gave me in detail
an earful
everything about Albert Fish, to the point where I was driving home after I dropped you off and I was still thinking about it. And it was disturbing me. It was disgusting stuff.
Yeah, he's one of the worst ones.
Absolutely. And it was just, horrendous shit. But the fact that the phrase and the intonation in an episode about Albert Fish, for me, I was sort of always on the fence whether or not when you first started throwing PP Hurts, whether you knew it was necessarily that podcast or not. I feel that once it was presented to you, that you truly would have known, and that's why you should have been like, oh, but the Albert Fish thing for me and the intonation is what really sold me on the idea, where I really believe you did this either unconsciously, but then with the doubling down on it, on top of that, I was like, you know what, we need to make an example or a lesson or something, man with no brain style. That's what the channel's dedicated to, is opening up Joe's brain And that what he was saying there, coupled with all the other stuff we've talked about and the entitlement issues and the just if I want it, I should be able to get it no matter who gives it to me or beg, borrow, and steal.
Oh yeah, I heard. I heard you guys' defense.
Yeah, well, that was my biggest defense. It was a perfect storm of all that. And my whole idea with the defense is even if I might not be able to 100% convince somebody that yes, Joe absolutely stole this phrase, even though I think, he did knowingly or unknowingly. I absolutely know that I could create the idea that Joe is the kind of guy that would have done it because he did all this other stuff. And I feel that was what was really going to sell the whole thing. You know what I mean? And part of me wishes we could have gone to trial just to see, and maybe I would have lost completely and it would have completely failed. I don't know, but I feel very strongly that it was going to create this whole scenario that even somebody would be like, well, he might not, but I totally see he's the kind of guy that would do it. And so I'm going to go benefit of the doubt, which is that he did do it. That was what I was hanging my entire defense really on.
It was scary. Let me tell you, it was frightening.
And Joe, none of us, I feel like I could speak for the group. We don't think that you used my pee-pee hurts maliciously. We don't think that you were like, you went down into a cave and like Gollum and worked on, I'm going to steal this little joking bit and use it on the hobbitses. We didn't think
sucking on fish bones.
We just think that you didn't think anything of it. You just like, whether you did it intentionally or subconsciously, you just don't have any regard for the ownership of most things. So that's where that kind of comes from. And so I will say this, so when Ryan was talking about, if we actually went to trial, I do think your strongest argument was the historical timeline of the use of the phrase "my pee-pee hurts," because I think we could have gotten away with a lot if you hadn't have done that. If you did use that, then I think we would have to really, 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 we would have to take people back to 2017 or 2016 or whatever to really understand you then. So that they could really get it. And I think Nick's point about Monster Rain or Trevor, whoever it was, it is pretty clear and valid. That
I took the Monster Rain bit. I mean, I'm fine with admitting that. But it's but I did not knowingly steal my pee-pee hurts.
Well, thank you, Joe. If you break the plea deal, then we just got some evidence here.
No.
Oh, and there was, and that's what I mean. It's this idea, this frustrating idea of and what Tyler said is Joe feeling that certain thing, in his opinion, there's no basis in anything. His whole thing with the copyright, his idea that if it's something that he wants and it's something that he, covets, then any port in a storm. If I can get my hands on it, it's fine. If that means I gotta hang around on the internet and just take files and instead of buying the movies, then that's totally fine. Or software.
Well, I mean, whenever I did the Monster Rain bit, I wasn't an up and coming comedian. So I mean, it's like it's completely different in my mind because I was doing a joke.
And
yeah.
Joe, we're not this comedy court thing is not about literally trying to make the world. We don't want when people Google Joe Buckley to see Carlos Mencia joke thief next to it. It's not that. It's for our own sake and sanity, because you like to, and I feel like this gets used a lot, and I want to make sure I don't misuse the term, but like I feel like you gaslight us a lot because you do and say something and we're like, wait a minute, we know that you XYZ, and you're like, It's like, no.
Oh yeah.
We fucking know for sure, dude.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have a large control of the English vocabulary or the past. The past is hard for me because I like to forget the past.
You see, I think here's what I think.
Full of shit.
Yeah,
I think doing it right now.
I think
doing it right now.
I think this past thing, that's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous because you can remember the number of hit points that the Dragon's Talon does on fucking Magic the Gathering, dude. You have memories. You know how to use them. What you don't remember is the stuff that makes you look bad. So
it's like I've also forgotten my own birthday. I didn't know that until I was in the end of high school. I didn't know my own birthday.
Yeah, but Joe, if every day's your birthday, like, I don't blame you for not
I was
knowing.
gonna say.
So it's just like, don't fuck us here, dude.
And here's the thing, Joe, about the memory. And of course, somebody that that studies this kind of thing could say why he remembers this and why not this. But from, my standpoint, that I like MREs. I talked about it on a previous episode, but it's not something I constantly talk about. That, I like MREs and I watch videos about MREs and I've got a weird sort of, it's a hobby of mine, if that could be even considered a hobby, eating something.
Yeah,
But
I think
like
eating
MREs.
old food is a hobby.
Well, not even old. I mean, the new MREs, ones that are within a year or two.
Yeah.
And you remembered that about me months later. Okay, I hadn't talked about it, and you found that you were in a position to get your hands on some free MREs, and you, as a surprise, for no reason at all, middle of January, mailed me a box of MREs. You just remembered I liked those. So when you start to talk about how you have a terrible memory, I would feel like one of the last things most people remember about me is my MRE liking, especially if they're in contact with him pretty regularly, because I talk about so much other shit. Even my families are like, my family's forgets that I have this weird thing.
Well, Christmas is coming up. We're gonna have to get Ryan some turkey powder that you mix in with the water, and the chocolate bar that you're not supposed to eat except in emergencies.
And funny you bring it up because I'm going to be ordering a couple more here pretty soon. I'm in the mood. It's like at 4 or 5 months pass, and I'm like, yeah, I want to eat a couple.
Yeah,
of
you got
MREs.
the taste again.
Yeah, I just enjoy the preparation of them, and using the flameless ration heater, the little pouch, you pour the water and gets. I don't know. It's fun. It's like an adult Happy Meal or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
But,
I've seen like a soup can where you like take a metal stick out and you poke it, and that gets the chemicals all riled up and it starts heating the soup inside the can.
Oh really? Well, if I could find one of those, I'd probably enjoy that as well.
Okay.
It's a weird, and I'm not even an outdoorsman or an outdoorsman or a doomsday prepper or anything. I don't know what it is. I just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
so
a distraction.
I have found the original post by Nick in our chat. We have a chat called the Slender Man Club, which is where all of the Malevolent Movies gang congregates. And Nick, as I said, was videoing this episode of last podcast playing on his car. And the first thing that happened was Ryan responded with a GIF of somebody turning towards the camera and looking, giving it a good side eye. And Trevor,
was it the hedgehog? Was it like the chipmunk GIF?
No, it's just a guy. I don't even think it's like from a show or anything. It's just some guy. But anyways, Trevor says, I fucking knew it. I said, you got caught, Buckley. That's straight to joke jail. Ryan said, I see a Man with No Brain trial episode coming up. So right from the get up, it was in the cards.
Tyler hits us with the jail, and I'm like, trial is all right there. The seeds were planted within minutes.
Within 5 posts, we're there. So Nick says, throw the book of magic cards at him. The People versus JRB. Ryan says, your pee-pee hurting was on the rock on which we built the Man with No Brain church, and it is now an abomination. So I posted the GIF of Notre Dame burning, and then Nick posted a GIF of Nixon. And I said, worst part is that this joke thief is fast asleep and won't even read these messages. Ryan posted a GIF of Milli Vanilli. And then Nick asked me to put your face on Nixon's body. And then something about you leaving in disgrace. And then I said, also, Ryan, with your permission, I would like to add a statement at the end of the new Man with No Brain video, soliciting for moments when fans have heard Joe use stolen jokes. Ryan said, permission granted.
And I'd like to point out, nobody got anything else. Nobody found anything else.
Well, we did.
Did you?
And you just admitted to it. So
No, but that wasn't a podcast. I mean, that was years and years ago.
Yeah, we found once we all started combing through the episodes of the show, that was almost all the evidence we needed, because by your own admission, there were so many. Once we started looking for it, we started seeing so many times where you bragged about, your standard stuff, stealing the pickles or whatever it was at the convention. There's so many instances of you just taking things and being okay with it, and being very braggadocious about, like, well, whatever. If people have to bend over backwards for you and your family's, giving you room and board and clothes. I mean, it was just this constant pattern once we started looking for it of you just being so okay with just taking whatever. You know what I mean? And it started to create this thing in our minds. And then even on your cousin's podcast, I was going through some, and there were parts where you gleefully talked about, oh yeah, I've steal movies from the internet. I don't care. And I was just like, mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think copyright itself is almost a crime nowadays.
Joe.
I mean, that's kind of
but that doesn't matter what you think, man. What doesn't matter what you think. It's still theft. It's still steal. It is stealing. There's no two ways about it.
No, piracy. It's not stealing. It's copying.
No, stop it. That is
the
there's a popular Reddit thread from years ago that's the crux of the argument of that thread. Trevor shared it with me. We know that's where you got that argument from. So
well, no, it's that. I mean, that is the ethos of the actual pirate community. Is it's not theft. It's copying. I mean, nothing's being stolen.
Just because somebody has an ethos doesn't mean that they're right. Okay.
Well, but it doesn't mean they're wrong.
So you're saying that somebody can only steal something if it's a physical product? It's physical. The only thing someone can be stolen.
You're not the. I mean, the theft is depriving someone of something. Whenever you make a copy, you're not depriving anyone of anything. That's kind of the whole ethos of piracy.
You're taking money from the person who created it. The thing is, Joe, you're stealing because you're not paying for something that you would be paying for if you truly wanted it. If you really wanted the entire, I saw you downloaded all the Godzilla films. If you really wanted those movies in your collection, you were a serious collector and a serious movie fan and wanted those, you would have paid for them. And people would have gotten their money. You didn't pay for them. You stole them. So yes, people are hurt. There is repercussions for it. And you may say, well, it's a big corporation criterion, But friends of ours and colleagues of ours, including the judge himself, has been financially hurt by people pirating their movies. They've lost money.
Mean, in the case of Godzilla itself, a handful of those films aren't even available to buy. I think Biolante's out of print.
One of them is Biolante, and it's out of print. That's the only one.
Yeah.
Everything else
I
is
should just not watch that movie.
In America, I've got it on my shelf right now.
But Joe, okay, so Joe, that's also part of the problem. You can't live in a world in which you are denied something, but that's your problem. That's not the world's problem. You understand that?
Yeah. I mean, piracy is no. I'm just saying, piracy's been around now for 30 years. I mean, if companies can't adapt to that, I mean, that's not the pirates' problem.
I'm just glad you didn't say that piracy's been around since Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh yeah. Since that cool Disney ride with the real human bones.
Jesus, but Joe, I don't know how deep we want to get into this. I guess it is part of the wrap up component, but so here's what, Ryan, when you brought up PJ's films being pirated, I'm sure that Joe, this is your first thought. Well, he said 10,000 downloads, but 10,000 people didn't watch it, and 10,000 people weren't going to watch it. Did that run through your brain?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just say that it's actually for every 1,000 people, only
it's
one,
like 10.
Only one person was going to watch it. But you know that if 10 people spent $15, that's a lot to PJ.
Yeah, so it is.
It's all relative.
I don't necessarily endorse pirating from the lowest of the indies.
But you do it. I know there are movies on your Plex
really.
that are that the label that put those movies out are tiny labels. I mean, if you really want to get down to it, Severin and Vinegar Syndrome, those are very small labels that have like a razor thin profit margin. You know what I mean? And those are the big name ones. I know there are movies on your Plex that are super, super small labels.
Yeah. But I also have a ton of stuff on my Plex where it's not legally available to watch or buy in any capacity.
But Joe, you're not watching it either. So why do you have to have it? No. Yeah. We have to get beyond that. You're not going to watch it. And I'm not saying that as a challenge to you so that I'll be the guy you'll defeat. Take out your sword of some Criterion film and watch it, and then I'll be perished. It's just that you won't.
Like a Hydra.
So you everything that you're saying, it's not like you're finding something obscure and sharing it with the people to make sure that they see it, because you're not watching it. For every argument you have about piracy, the ethos, whatever it is, there's a part of your lifestyle that immediately contradicts it. So it's so hard for us to take Like, I'm sure there's probably a guy out there that is really a big pirater, and he probably has some really good facts he could spit to try and convince people that piracy is the way. Joe, I have pirated films. I pirate films from time to time. Not as much as you, but I do. So, like, I have no leg to stand on here. But what I'm not going to do is exclaim to an audience of potentially 500 people that piracy is A-okay. There's nobody gets hurt. I'm not going to say that. Like, I'm just not, because that's not the case. And I know that, like, let's say you buy a Blu-ray of fucking, I don't know, what's something that you wouldn't watch. Let's say, okay, you buy Hubie Halloween, Adam Sandler's Netflix film. It comes out on DVD. Okay. Now, Tim Meadows is in that. You want to make sure Tim Meadows gets paid. By the time all the money trickles through the companies to this, to the distributor, to the art people, to the music people, Tim Meadows makes 5 cents. And I'm sure to you, well, the crime here is that Netflix doesn't get $5. So, like, but at the end of the day, it's still money to those people, the people that help make that thing happen.
I mean, here's the thing. I mean, everybody except for the A-list actor, they're the only ones who really get the big residuals. I mean, everybody got paid whenever they made the movie.
Okay,
all the
so
grips, all the
Adam
crew,
Sandler's
all
not
the
worth money?
Yeah, no, I don't think no.
Okay, so how?
Don't forget Adam Sandler's one who made those job opportunities for all those grips and everything.
Yeah,
but they got paid. I mean, they got paid. Everybody got paid already. So, I mean, the only one you're taking money out of their pocket is Sandler and whatever studio it is.
And I just want to say, the last several movies Joe has added to his Plex. Hellraiser, yeah, that's a hard one to find. Good thing you got it quick. The Day After, which is a TV movie. I think
that's actually a work print. You're not legally allowed to watch that. That's a 3-hour cut.
Doesn't matter. You don't care about TV
doesn't exist.
It doesn't matter.
Joe, you don't need to see it.
You don't watch it. You're not going to care about it. You just did it because someone told you that. You know, fucking heard of The Day After a week ago. And then let's go through the other titles. Jackass 3.5. Okay. Looks like there's a Japanese cartoon that I'm not familiar with. Dario Argento's Inferno, which is readily available via Blue Underground. Looks like another Japanese film. Documentary I don't know about. The Dead Next Door. That guy is, you're talking about taking money from people.
Well, I've got The Shining forward and backwards. It's the film overlaid on the film, played backwards and forwards. How can you legally buy that?
But I'm just saying, it's sandwiched in between Jackass 3.5, Inferno, and Hellraiser. You know what I mean?
Joe, those are 40-year-old films. I mean, they've made their money.
Joe, come on, dude. Come on, man.
I'm not gonna go any farther.
If you want to fight copyright and you want to fight,
I do.
And you want to fight the public domain, the first thing you shouldn't say is, in 40 years they made their money when they're given 90. Okay, you got to make a more cogent and realistic argument here, because one, you're not going to change the world, buddy. No offense. Nobody who's listening to this podcast is going to fucking run for office, take up arms, and shorten the public domain registry or whatever it is. Like, you got to be realistic, because all it sounds like so I'm going to make a point here. I thought I would save this for the end, but I'm going to make it now. I have learned over the last 6 months, partially prior to the trial, but also during it, I feel like there's a contingency of the man with no brain office, the man with no brain audience. This is just a terrible workplace. The man with no brain audience that watches or listens to this stuff because they view you as, there's a term you used to use all the time, Joe, this website or whatever, the people that you laugh at. What is that called?
What do you mean?
It was cow in it, something cow.
Oh, lol cow?
Yeah. I know there's a contingency of this audience that just wants to laugh at you. And I don't like that. I don't appreciate that. And if people think that I contribute to that, well, then shame on me for those moments. But I don't think I do it all the time. I think a lot of this is we're acting and we're playing and we're having fun, because at the end of the day, Joe, I would love to have a drink with you and sit down and enjoy your company,
Yeah.
And so
Pepsi Blue.
Sure. Would you agree with me, though, that there's probably a contingency of the audience that does watch for those reasons?
It's possible they could, but I mean, the thing with the lol cows traditionally is, I mean, they get a lot of internet hate from people who watch them, and I really haven't seen any.
Well, I've seen plenty of people mention you and Chris Chan in the same sentence. And so,
well, I mean, we have similar lives. I mean, if you really look at it,
Sure.
And I did that whole big Christian
Yeah,
episode.
but
So, I
my
mean, it would
point-
make sense that people would draw those parallels.
But my point is that I don't agree with that, and I don't like that. And I think when you make these arguments where you have no leg to stand on, you're so passionate about something that you have no contribution to other than you're just the bad guy. Like, I just feel like it makes you look bad. And like, I don't like that for you. I don't want people to view you like that. I mean, you may live a lifestyle similar to that, but like for you to like want to project that out to the world, it bums me out a little bit. Because I don't want people to think that of you. I don't want people to think that you are like literally, an online waste of space, because you're not. There's a lot of good things to know about you. And this show is not highlighting those things. I mean, that's not a part of the show necessarily, other than like when we break, I don't know, break character is the right term, but we kind of break away from the man with no brain shtick and we kind of get real from time to time, like I am now. I just want you to know that like I don't think it's in your best interest to take up these flags and just plant them so firmly. I think you should be a little bit more introspective, look inwards, and just realize that the arguments you're making aren't really grounded in reality. They're not really grounded in fact, not all of them, at the very least.
Yeah, no, I get that. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Take a shot, everybody.
I was just gonna start. That's exactly what I thought. That comment.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Take a
It's
shot
fine.
every time Jeff says, "I understand."
Again, Joe, like I like, so I'm going to send you a video. There's this guy I watch on YouTube called Tom Scott. He's a Brit, and he just does like every week he releases a video about something interesting. And he did a big video last year called "YouTube's Copyright System Isn't Broken, the World's Is," where he talks about how a lot of people hate the way the YouTube copyright system works, but really it works most of the time. It's when it doesn't work that it's a problem. And then he basically turns this into an argument about how the real issue here is the public domain and people holding onto the rights for things for too long. And that really we need to release things sooner to the public, not in 10 years, but I think he posits like 50
It
or
used to be
something.
30. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, 50 years is somebody's lifetime. They get enough, they move on, die or whatever, and then the world can consume it as is. So if that were the case, there's so many of those films on your list that you could get for free. You could just download online. You know what I mean? So it's like, I think that what he's saying is really how you feel, but he's actually trying to view it through the lens of reality. And like he says that like there's the chances of what I'm saying happening are slim to none. Because
basically nothing. There's too much lobbying.
Yes, but at least he's making a solid argument. That's my position. And I think if you watch maybe some more videos by him or somebody else that you like, I think when you come out here and you go, the ethos of the pirate says that everybody gets to have a little bit of booty sometimes. And then we share with each other. And then, like when you do that shtick, I mean, and I know for you, it's not shtick. That's how you actually feel. I think it undermines your argument ultimately. And I just think you need to look at it a little bit more deeply than one opinion from Reddit.
Yeah.
Plus,
I mean,
you
I
also
think
like getting movies for free, Joe. Just admit it.
Yeah, I enjoy getting things for free.
I think it has nothing to do with copyright. You're not. Yeah,
No,
that's what I mean.
no.
You're not. It's this. You're not really making a point. You're just like getting the shit for free.
No, I think culture would be in a much better place if we were able to use other people's ideas freely, but we're not able to. It takes 95 years.
Well, I'll tell you, if that was the case, I wouldn't even attempt to write something.
Okay, that's fine. Other people will.
I think you would see a lot of creative people not fuck around.
But
they wouldn't do it.
Joe, that's
if anybody can take your shit and run with it and make, you know what I mean? It takes too much work, and people put too much of themselves into the art they create to have it be. Well, the protections are there, not just for monetary reasons. It's there because you put so much into it. It's not fair then for some rando to just be like, oh, I'm going to take this and not have to do any of the legwork. Take this universe and, outside of fan fiction, which I have no problem with, of course, but you know what I mean? Doing it from a legit standpoint where they might make money or they might make a living.
No, but it used to be 15 years plus 15 with extension. I mean, is 30 years not enough?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know now. And because things are 30 years time doesn't mean anything so much with the internet. A movie that came out 30 years ago was 1986. 1986 is readily accessible. Everyone's referencing stuff from.
You mean 91?
Oh shit! My math is.
You lost 5 years. It's okay.
But
no
I
idea.
think Ryan's point is
You
that
know what I'm saying? Yeah.
me seeing something from 91 today and being like, this should be free to the public, that is a bit shocking because it's not that long ago.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
Terminator 2, man. Think about Terminator 2.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
imagine if everybody got to make their own Terminator 2 if they wanted to. Wouldn't some cool stuff maybe come out?
No, because
Well, you can make fan
Terminator
films.
2 was good.
You can make fan films. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can make fan films, and that's fine.
Well, the studio
Everybody
can strike
does.
those down. I mean, some of
Yeah,
those
but
have been struck down by the studios.
Yeah, but so few of them actually have. They are everywhere, man. They are everywhere. The Friday the 13th fan films right now is almost an industry unto itself.
Yeah.
There are guys out there. The guy who made Never Hike Alone in the sequel, Never Don't Hike in the Snow, or whatever the fuck it was called, he raised like 30, 40 grand to make that sequel, which he technically can't profit on. But if you think for a second he wasn't buying equipment with that money that he's using for future personal projects, which I would consider profiting, just, you know what I mean? There's loopholes with all that. There are people making Carrie fan films left and right. I just saw one on Indiegogo. They're not getting struck down that much. You know what I mean? People are making them. I saw a Scream one a couple of weeks ago. They're everywhere. So people can still scratch that itch where if they want to make something that's within, a certain intellectual property for the fun of making it, they still can.
But Joe, I don't even think that that's really what you want. You just want to own them. Like, that's what it is.
I mean, I think culture. I think once you release something into a culture, I think that partially belongs to the culture. Then.
Oh, but Joe, you can't. Like, okay, fine. I'll bite. If you do that, then no artist of any venue or medium can ever make a living. They can never make a living then. So why would they do it? If you can't afford a place to live, you have to have basic necessities to exist. No artist wants to create when they live in a fucking gutter 24/7 trying to survive. You have to give people the opportunity to monetize their work in order for them to continue to make that work. So Quentin Tarantino wouldn't be working today if he was still working out of that fucking porno shop or whatever in LA. Like, yeah. You have to let people make some money. And again, I think your core argument is that the public domain is too long. It takes too long for things to enter the public domain. And I agree with you. But it shouldn't be 5 years. It shouldn't be 1 year. It should be something like 30 to 50. I think we can all agree on that range for the most part, But at the end of the day, you have to wait to download, I don't know, Itchy Bunghole, your favorite Japanese movie about a butthole with cockroaches in it.
Yeah.
Because that came out in 2019. So you gotta wait. But can you wait?
I choose not to. No.
Okay, how about this? If they did change the public domain laws to the previous 15 plus 15 or whatever, would you wait?
Maybe. Maybe I would.
You wouldn't.
I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Again, Joe, all your arguments are fine. I don't think any of it is the main impetus behind your downloading. I think this is the argument you've created around it when you get stuck in these situations. Ultimately, you like getting free movies. And I think that's the beginning and the end of it, really.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. But I really think that's what it is. Because you said yourself, you quit buying movies when you started downloading them.
Well, it's much
you
more.
Had no
it's
problem
much
with copyright
more.
And all this bullshit you're talking about when you're buying Anchor Bay DVDs. None of this, you didn't talk about any of this. But now, because now you have to occasionally form these sort of arguments in defense, now you've started to throw these other things out. And yeah, you may believe in some of it, but I think ultimately the reason your finger is clicking on that mouse and downloading the Itchy Butthole movie is because you like getting the Itchy Butthole movie for free. And you wouldn't pay for that movie anyway.
I mean, downloading is it's much more convenient than buying a physical release nowadays. You gotta wait the 30 days to get it. You gotta put it in your player. Like some kind of savage, you have to get up off your couch and stick the disc inside a device.
And it looks better than anything you got.
I can download remuxes. I can download full disc images.
Does it? No.
I can do that.
Sound, I promise you, if you really put it up against somebody with a real setup at their house, and they're actually got the 4K disc in the player with the correct sound, and it's going to blow your shit away.
I mean, no. That's what I'm saying. People can download the full discs. There's zero difference between a disc image and an actual disc. It's the file. It's a 50 gigabyte file.
But you don't have the I'm not going to get into it. There's
You can
High
hook
Def
it. You can
Digest.
hook
Go
everything
read
up.
High Def Digest, dude.
No,
Go
I
to the
understand. You can
websites
hook
and
that.
read.
You can hook that into your TV, and it's very easy. You can
So-
do it
so-
all with your nice setup and your TV and
At
everything.
the very least, not to bolster Joe's argument, at a certain point, that original movie is sitting on a hard drive somewhere, and that's where it begins, and it gets duplicated on whatever
Yeah.
medium or thing. But Joe, like, so here's something that I've noticed about your Plex. Again, we're back on the Plex again. So
Okay.
I have a Plex library as well, and for me, but much like Ryan, but Ryan deserves the credit because he pays for every single movie he has. Not to say I have paid for some of my movies and I've ripped them myself, but Ryan has paid for all of his, and he it's the experience, it's the box art, it's the sleeves, it's the insides, it's the outsides, it's the disc,
Oh
it's
yeah,
all of it.
I mean,
Yeah.
and it's
Wow.
supporting, the movies, because there'll come a point where they're just not going to come out. Period. You think, well, they're going to get rid of physical media. They're not going to even deal with doing restorations that put on a stream. It's just going to stop, except for the big titles. Then it will become a point where you will not be able to see a movie and it will disappear. The best you're going to have is some broken down public domain version. You know what I mean? It takes a physical media company to put the money. It takes a Criterion to take something like Night of the Living Dead and do which is a public domain movie, of course, and
Yeah.
make a nice restoration of it. And knowing that restoration is now going to be stolen by everybody else, and slapped on their public domain DVDs, but if Criterion wasn't here, that restoration wouldn't happen. And the only version of Night of the Living Dead you're going to get is the crappy, blown out, awful versions that we had for years and years and years,
Well, I mean, we also had a good one from, I believe, maybe it was MJM, but I remember there was a 40th anniversary Blu-ray that looked good in Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah, it's okay. But what I mean is, again, who did all that work? A label who's trying to make money. So that's when
they were able to make money off the public domain.
I know that, but that's just an example. What I'm saying is nobody's putting out movies, whether they're going to put them out digitally or putting them out on disc. Somebody owns them and has to put them out there. And we're talking about restorations, and we're talking about cleaning them up and taking original prints to make quality versions of these movies so we can see them the way they're supposed to be seen. Somebody has to make money off that. And if there's not going to be money to be made, no one's going to do that anymore. So if you don't support when movies are coming out and you're not paying anything for them, and a whole bunch of people do that, then labels and people who own these movies, people who physically own them, because there are guys that literally own the film in their garage. They were the producer of whatever it was, and they're the only guy that owns, it's like the only movie they made, and it's a cult movie, and they don't have the means to put out digitally. Somebody's got to come with them and think there's money to be made. So that is why supporting, especially the smaller labels and the smaller genre stuff and the cult stuff, that's why that's so important, because there will become a time where, there's not money to be made. So the movies aren't going to even be available to stream because nobody's restoring them and putting them up. A lot of the movies you are taking down are the restorations and the Criterion versions of all these things. There are movies that have money put into them to make them look that nice. And if those companies don't get support, and especially the smaller ones, and they disappear, then this cult movie is going to stay in someone's box in their garage, and it's never going to see the light of day.
Yeah, but I mean, if theoretically the public domain was 15 or 30 years, I mean, people would still be making money off their prints they made off of public domain films. I mean, they could still do that and still make money.
But Joe, I think the thing that
nobody's buying public domain movies, man. No one cares about those. Those are the 50 movies are on the same 50 pack. It's the Beast from
because it never got expanded. The public domain never got expanded, so it is still the same 200 movies.
But
yeah,
Joe, I think
that's the reality of it.
We're getting stuck in the weeds here because, Joe, no matter what, you're not going to pay for them. Like, if every major studio decided it's time to start releasing, let's say they come up with a digital DVD package or something where you get the movie in its highest definition, they do some extras, they do commentaries, etc. They basically release everything with some new art. It's just digital, not physical. You're still not going to pay for it. Even if it was $5, I don't think you'd pay for it because you know how to get it for free.
Yeah. I've learned how advantageous it is to actually pirate now. I mean, I don't think I could go back.
Well, okay, so then then rather than
That's the truth.
arguing against Ryan's very good point about how these indie labels are doing a service to the film or the cinema snob community. Sorry, I don't mean that to be derogatory.
No, that's all right.
But
Yeah,
it's just
no,
like
that's fine.
it's the people that care about cinema. Like you're doing a disservice to them, and I can understand that, especially because Ryan does make a good point. A lot of the films that come from those labels are in your library. You just didn't buy them. So I what I'm trying to get you to do, like on the last episode, is just stop trying to build arguments around things that are not really defendable. I don't think you can defend yourself here. You can acknowledge it, that this is your position and it won't change, and then it stops. Like, truly, I don't know why it would continue. If you just say, I'm going to do it, I'm going to continue to do it, nothing will stop me from doing it, well, okay. What more can we do about that then? We can't. But
I know I'm never gonna change your mind, Joe. I just want you to think about it, especially as somebody who. That's the thing, is somebody that claims to love film so much, and somebody that actually works on movies, to be so like, fuck movies, fuck the people who make them. You think that it's only like these certain amount of people that are getting the money, and you don't think about like all the other stuff that goes into every single release that isn't a major label. I'm not talking major labels and major studios like Walt Disney and stuff like that. That stuff will always be available. And if it's streaming, there's always money behind it. I'm talking about 95% of the rest of the 115, 116, 120 years of cinema, which as the more years go by, the less people care about this stuff even Hitchcock, you know what I mean? And it comes to a point where, there are movies that you're not going to get, that you would love to get, that you would love to see, because there's no money in it, because everyone's just taking it all. And if it gets to a completely digital thing, there's always going to be, just like records, there's always going to be the collector's market. And that's kind of what we're getting with Blu-rays and 4K and stuff. And I think that will always exist. I mean, if records are any indication.
They went out of style for a while and they came back in.
Yeah, and there will always be a market for that, especially because the people that really love film are not necessarily super worried about the next Marvel movie, but they'd love to get, an old William Friedkin film from the 60s or something like that. But the only way some of those,
in 30 years, a MCU box set would probably be huge in some capacity. I envision it happening in some way. I'm sure it probably won't be a disc. I don't want to say flash drive. I don't know what it could look like. It's just we need a universal player that will last through a couple iterations of whatever physical media could be. That's what we need.
I'm not sure. I think they're already working on the 8K thing. Well, they started making some 8K TVs.
Well, 8K TVs have been around a while, but the problem is that for not to be mean towards the layman's, but they probably can't see the difference between 1080 and 4K. So
sure.
Like the DVD to Blu-ray gap that took so long.
Some people didn't know this. Some people will still say to this day there's no difference between the DVD and the Blu-ray.
Well, and imagine what that would be from a 4K UHD Blu-ray to an 8K thing. They're going to be like, what?
Yeah. I like my VHSs.
Yeah.
Give me spookies on VHS.
Well, I'm sure the fans have skipped this entire part about Plex servers again. So, Joe, I don't want your homework to go to waste, because Ryan insisted that you needed to watch.
Yeah, I listened to 6 hours of content last night.
Yeah.
That's in and of itself.
So, Joe, I have one question about that. What was said by anybody, even if it was something you said yourself, or Tad, or me, or any of the other guys, what truth hit a little too hard for you?
I mean, I didn't realize that I was just kind of upsetting you guys in my personal life, kind of. Just in terms of some of my habits or whatever.
Well, could you expand on like what was said that kind of got you to that thought?
Just in terms of just being loud and always on.
Joe, I love you, buddy, but we've told you that 100 times.
on this YouTube channel alone. So for instance, Joe, I'm going to use this as an example because this fits in. I was irritated last night. I was sitting down. I had made some street tacos. I had to use ground turkey because the store was out of ground chicken, but it's fine. It still worked good. The consistency was a
really
little different.
fine, Ryan?
I was a
I
little
don't think
disappointed.
so. Yeah.
I was a little disappointed because I wanted the chicken, but whatever. I'm a hell of a cook. Good seasonings was fine. So I'm sitting there, I'm eating it, and I see the message, and that we to record today, or maybe it was a message saying, Joe, it was basically saying, Joe, you need to go back and listen to the trial episodes to prepare for tonight. And this was like 7:30 at night. And I figured the message was earlier in the day, but I figured since you're responding at 7:30, that was when you had just woke up.
Yeah, just woken up.
And then you had this moment where you're like, well, I'll try. It's like 6 hours. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy has, unless there's some doctor appointment we didn't know about, or you're going down to, help out with whack-a-mole again, you have all the time in the world to watch or listen to these. You just listen to them while you do other stuff for 6 hours. And the fact that you're already starting to make an excuse that you might not have enough time to listen to the 6 hours, which you should have probably maybe already listened to as they were coming out, but whatever, you don't like to listen. Is what it is.
Well,
in that moment,
I had the same gut instinct when I saw that too.
I slammed my hands down. I was like, come on, Joe. Come on, don't fucking. And that's the stuff that irritates you. You live whatever life you want, whatever lifestyle you want. But when the lifestyle was felt at that moment that it was going to creep in and try to postpone the recording, when I know you have the time to do it, it's those moments. Yes, I get irritated with your lifestyle because then it's creeping in on stuff that we're planning to do.
So Joe, what was when you saw that message from Ryan asking you to watch the show and it was the 6 hours or whatever? What prompted you to respond with that?
Well, I don't like to disappoint people, so I always try to amend my statements. It's like, well, I'll give it my best shot. So that way, if I fail, it's not as bad.
But I mean,
I just don't see why you could have failed.
You just have to watch something in a period of time. That's all it was. So here's my thinking: is that you saw Ryan asking you to do something that it consists of 6 hours of material, and you thought, I don't want to do that. Is that true?
Well, it wasn't so much that. It's
Joe, it's okay if it is. We're not going to get upset with you if you say, I didn't want to listen to 6 hours.
I mean, I thought I might go back to sleep. I wasn't sure.
So how long had you been sleeping when you were woken up and you saw that?
Well, I had just woken up at 7 p.m. I mean, I have a horrific sleep schedule, so it's I never know when I'm gonna go
we've
down.
Talked about that, but Joe, you didn't want to listen to it. That's it. That's okay. And it's again, I'm not going to get upset with you for being honest. You just didn't want to listen to 6 hours of the show.
Well, it's a lot to take in all at once. It's a lot of content at once.
Well, sure, I don't disagree, but you and me are similar in some ways where I can when there's a new video game that I want to play, that only happens about once or twice a year. I take time off. I take a long weekend, and basically I play that game long enough to understand it. And then after hour 10, for the next 40 or 50, there's something playing on the screen next to me. It's white noise in some ways, but hey, I've listened to The Man with No Brain before. I can do it again. You've at least were there. So I could understand if you were playing Binding of Isaac or you were sorting your magic cards or something, which is something that you've said that you like to do.
Yes,
so that doesn't even sound enjoyable, sorting your cards while listening to our show.
I mean, that's what I did end up doing. I watched some of the video content just straight on, looking at the people on the screen, and then sometimes I was
did you say I don't know these actors?
I don't recognize their faces. The faces all blend together. Well, I'm not sure who these people are.
You don't know actors.
Yeah, who's this fat guy with the bowl cut? I don't like him.
Joe,
what?
You drive me crazy here, buddy. You got to stop making disparaging comments about your weight.
Oh, well, I don't mind. I'm okay.
No. You do mind. I'll cut this out, but you do mind. And I've noticed you've been doing it a lot lately. You got to stop, buddy. Remember we had that conversation? You don't like hearing it, so don't put it out there. If you put it out there, then the lol cow people...
Yeah, because I don't know that you don't like it. And sometimes I go for the low-hanging fruit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if I know you don't like it, then I won't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll cut this out, Joe. I don't want people to know.
Yeah, I assume this because I'm telling you that if you don't like something, tell me. I've told you that from the beginning.
No, I get that. If
the bit is you feel it upsets you, and I don't mean in a real way like the Plex stuff, because whatever, that's real. but like the jokes about you and your eating and all the bullshit. If you don't like it, tell me. It's not going to offend me. I'll say, okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know. Because I need to know. Because if I don't know, sometimes I need boundaries when it comes to stuff. You know, if I think it's a free for all, I may act as if it's a free for all, and that's a flaw of mine and has been since childhood. And you know, and relationships, etc. I've had to be given, you know, what I think is a funny just throwaway goof. I find out, you know, 6 weeks later when I'm in the doghouse that it was mean and they thought about it forever. But for me, it was a throwaway goof because I didn't know, because I'm dumb, I guess, in a lot of ways. I didn't realize that was so cutting, you know. So
yeah.
By all means, let me know. I'm going to say, okay, thanks for letting me know.
No,
Appreciate it. I won't do it again, and you won't hear it again. You know, I won't do it again.
Yeah.
So
that's
all.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Well, anyways, so you watched the episodes and you consumed them however you did, and you came away with, you didn't quite realize that we have issues with some of your social engagement choices, i.e. the loud yelling, the use of inappropriate language or jokes or phrases or whatever it is. But Joe, I mean, we've been telling you since week 2 of knowing you that you can go a little too hot. So do you truly not register that when we say that to you? Or when you hear somebody say something to you negative, like, Joe, please don't do that, do you not like being told no?
Well, it's like my volume. It's like really hard for me to control. So it's like
you have to be
a lot of times I'll just
of it,
forget.
Though.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand that. I've been told that I'm loud too, and I try to be as mindful about it as possible. So, but it's like you're on another level here, buddy. So that's one thing. The loudness is one thing, but there is like many times where we tell you, like, don't stop saying that thing, stop doing this. Like we'll say, hey, Joe, don't say chicks around 2 seconds later. Well, that chick, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, but again, I'm trying to tie this to the trial. I feel like this is a part of you don't like being told to do things. And it has nothing to do with, you probably don't want to upset us. You probably don't want to say something that bothers us. But the fact that you're told no, that's the thing you get hung up on. That's what I'm curious about.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I think it's like a lot of times I'll just kind of not like remember to do it, kind of.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel like that though? If somebody asks you to not talk about a certain subject or to not repeat a joke or a word or something like that in whatever social setting it is, do you take that personally? Does it hurt you?
Well, I mean, it does depend. I mean, a lot of people just kind of like to control what other people say, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, you know, I there was a time when I was younger, probably your age, actually, Joe. Not to sound like old Methuselah, but where, yes, I also would take offense if somebody said that a joke I made or something I wrote, a short story or something was, you know, don't say that, or that's could be seen as offensive or this and this. And I would get offended by it because I felt insulted. And maybe sometimes I also felt a little bit like, yeah, they're right. Yeah, they were right. But I don't like being told that I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I've come a long way since then, but this is how I was then. And I would feel that way. I'd be like I'd be with a friend and we'd be goofing and I'd be making goofs. And then I'd say something and they'd be like, oh man, yeah, that's not cool. And I'd be like, who the fuck are you to tell me that's not cool? You were laughing at everything here, but all of a sudden this one's not, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But most of the time they were right. And that's why I was offended, because I almost felt, maybe I felt a little bit ashamed or something. And that's even when I was a little kid, I'd go too far with a joke or something. And a friend would cry or somebody would tell on me, and that I would feel ashamed because I knew deep down, yeah, that was mean. That was a mean goof or whatever. And so, I mean, if that is the case, Joe, I understand, because I was that way years and years ago as well.
Yeah.
And if you could be more mindful of that stuff in the future, because most of the situations that I think we were discussing is like when we're at my house and we're just hanging out, and it's like there could be two conversations happening at opposite ends of the room, and you're screaming over both of them. And then we'll say, okay, Joe, hold on. You just, you did the thing with the baby and the fisting, and let's not do that. That's one thing, but the internet show stuff is another thing. So it's like, just so I can draw a clear line here, we're talking more about the private social engagement stuff when it's just the guys, when it's just us hanging out with, our circle of people. If you want to do that nonsense online, we have some control over it in a way that we can let it go out, but we can also tap it down a little bit, with a little bit of a bleep or something,
Yeah.
So you don't have to take it personally, but also it helps to not feel like it's personal if you slowly start to listen to what the people are really saying, and really it's just, we want to, okay, I think Nick said it in the part 4, where he said, I just want to hang out with Joe. I don't want to hang out with Joe Buckley or the real Joe Buck, the character. He just wants to hang out with you. Much like Ryan talks about when you guys first met and you talked about Blu-rays, you know, because there is I'm not going to say that it's like a Jekyll and Mr. Hyde situation, it's a little more fluid than that. But there is a version of you where if it's just you and one person hanging out, it would be great if that could translate a little bit better if you added another person or two to that group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, because it's like, I want people to like me, so it's like you just try to entertain them.
Yeah,
but Joe, we don't always need to be entertained. That's a big thing. We don't always need to be entertained.
Yeah. So and kind of this idea of you don't like people controlling what other people say. We're a different crew. We're not trying to tell anybody what to say or what not to do. We're talking to you, Joe, as us. We've heard it all before, and there's nothing more raw than we could probably come up just as the same kind of stuff you do. We just choose not to. So it's not a situation of, you versus this faceless them that want to stop you from saying stuff and everything. I see what you're coming from on that end, but when we're talking about us, we're not, we're not trying to do that to you. We're just like, come on, chill out. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
I feel is it's like, Joe, be Joe. Be yourself. You don't need, we're not trying to tell you what to say or what not to do. We're more or less trying to say, turn off the bit. It's us. You know what I mean? It's us.
Yeah.
It's not about controlling what you're saying necessarily. If that makes sense. I don't know.
No, I get that.
In regards to the trial, what kind of came out in the first 5 minutes of this episode is if you just said I know last podcast, I know this, I know that, I did say it. Okay, fine, whatever. We really would have dropped it. That's not just to save our own asses here. We really would have. There's no investment there. The investment is that you double down on things frequently, and on top of that, there are certain aspects of your personality that really feed into that, like the idea that you hold these jokesters to such a high regard, and yet you're possibly using their material amongst people who don't know them or wouldn't have heard it. There's just a lot that kind of combined, and it was almost like a perfect storm in some way. Yeah. And so just so you know, we I don't know what my point is. See you later, guys.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully the people were entertained at the very least.
Well,
to be honest, it came to a point where I wasn't worried about the entertainment value. Yeah. Because I wasn't necessarily, even though I was making jokes here and there, of course, because that's just my nature, but I was taking it as seriously as possible without knowing anything about the law. I was trying to do the best LA law I could, and I was taking it seriously because I knew, because I really had a point with this. It was all of this stuff. If it wasn't necessarily just about my pee-pee hurts, it was about just a general thing with you, Joe. We talked about earlier in this episode of just you wanting to take things and sometimes doubling down and just not being open with us at this point. And since that's what this channel is about, is opening up the brain of Joe Buckley, I said, this is a great opportunity to really try to, within the context of this fake trial, it was a chance to try and really maybe dig in and prove a point about Joe, about you and this, and maybe it wouldn't work, maybe it would, but I was playing it straight down the middle. And plus I knew you guys were going to just goof off. And my whole thing was like, they're going to just goof. And then I'm going to have actual stuff and real questions and real points, at least in my mind, have real points that I'm making, and you guys are going to be stuck doing the bit and then not know how to answer. And to me, that would have been, whether you win or lose, that would have been the point of the whole thing.
Did Joe just get up and leave?
Yeah, no, I'm here. Okay. No. I put
Itchy Butthole 2, the Criterion cut just went online.
Yeah, the Cons cut just released. It's an extra 45 minutes of footage.
And and I don't want to get back in the Plex thing, whatever. You do what you do, I guess, Joe. But I almost sent you a link today because it's July and Criterion is doing their, Barnes and
Yeah,
Noble
I saw their half off sale.
does their half off. So all the vendors pretty much do half off to compete with Barnes and Noble. And there's a lot of great titles, including Eraserhead. But then I realized, and it made me sad that you wouldn't give a fuck because you wouldn't buy it.
Well, I got
That's
it.
why I couldn't share. You're the only person I know I could have shared that to, and I couldn't share it to you.
No, I know.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. See how it affects me. See how it affects me inside.
I know. I understand. They're expensive. They're expensive movies. It's $40
That's
for a
why
Blu-ray, half off on. Yeah.
That's why it's a big deal when they're $19.95.
Yeah.
Some of them are $14.95. There's really nothing I'm looking for right now. But nevertheless.
So Joe, yeah. I'm really invested in Ryan and I. Ryan has the gift of gab. I have the gift of apparently just wanting to hear my own voice. We monologue quite a bit, and you're awfully quiet. And you're listening. I know you're listening. I don't want to claim that you're not, but I'm just surprised at the only times you have a lot of things to say is when it tends to be confrontational about like decisions that we deem, or like arguments that we deem to be hypocritical, like the piracy or whatever. Like, do you have, I'm just curious, do you have any long-winded thoughts on anything related to the trial? Is there anything that you walked away with where you saw something, or after the experience you just sat there and you really thought something about the whole thing? Because I want to hear more from you. Like, I just want to hear from you about this experience. So
were you mad? Did this make you mad, this entire thing? All this time spent like talking about you being a joke thief? I mean, did any of this upset you or make you irritated or make you mad at us?
Well, I mean, with the joke thief thing, I mean, that's like a really hard thing to be accused of as like a failed comedian, That's like the last thing you want in like a career you're trying to make.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, that would be really bad if that came out. But like with I was gonna basically, like, if the trial happened, I think I was going to just try to defend myself as best I could. But I wasn't sure if you guys had like any kind of like smoking gun in like the audio. So that's why I ended up taking the plea deal.
But
no,
I think it's relative.
Was in the audio.
Smoking gun is relative. I feel like Ryan's argument had the smoking gun and the connections between your thieving in general, your proclivity to use bits before the podcast stuff, the connection to Albert Fish, all of that. To me, that's a smoking gun. To you, I don't think you give two shits, and I think that you're like, nah, they don't got anything on me. Am I wrong?
Well, I could defend those.
Did the Plex thing? Because I feel
I think that's pretty secondary.
Because I mean, I'll tell you one of my big pieces of evidence, and I'll spell it out without spoiling anything, with a future project that you may or may not release. You say a line where I don't care about, you don't use the word piracy, you don't use the word copyright. It was just like, it was made for me. You just said, I don't care. I steal movies. Right now I'm in the process of stealing title. The second I heard that, I went to your Plex and boom, there it was. So you claimed you were doing it. There was proof that you did it. And I was like, if anything was a smoking gun, presenting that to a judge who is also a filmmaker who has expressed many woes about his movies being pirated, I felt those things there, that piece of evidence was going to be a nice little, that was nice. I was very pleased with that.
Okay. And you guys had only got that evidence because I shared my project with you, hoping for encouragement. I shared my Plex with you guys.
We gave that to you.
No, you did.
Yeah,
I shared my Plex with you so you can watch movies. And,
well, we can't.
But that's like somebody that's caught in a confession. Well, the only reason you attacking the proxy, the only reason you got me is because I confessed. Like, well,
it would be like if I was like shoplifting Milky Ways and like I was like sharing them with you guys and you turned me in.
Well, sure, but that's not what we were doing, though, Joe. That's not what we were doing.
Yeah.
But also, so you said something.
Just was a coincidence. I was listening. I would just say that was just a happy thing when we were already deep into doing the trial when I was listening to that, and it smacked me right in the face. I stopped and I said, "What did he just say?" I ran to my TV, turned on the Plex, and boom, it was there. And I was just like, man, there it is. That's what I'm looking for right there.
Well, so Joe, you said something interesting when we kind of touched upon like what were your thoughts in general, and you said that like and this is something that's been clear from the beginning, the idea of your name being associated with Joke Thief is kryptonite to you. And like, I don't quite see it. I don't quite see the connection. I know that's how you view yourself. It's not how I view you. It may be how people...
If I would like to do anything involved with comedy, that would basically, you would be a leper.
Well, in a certain context, nobody's... If this truly was true, and you said on this podcast, yes, I used the last podcast on the left bit, like, I think people would be able to look at the context of this entire podcast and be like, okay, this is just a bunch of shit. Like, that's not Carlos Mencia, and I hate to keep harping on this guy because I don't know where
he's a dirty thief. Yeah, it's fine.
No,
he's been
come on. I would assume that he's come to terms with that and at least said something about it publicly at this point.
I think he still denies it.
I think he does.
Says that he didn't. But.
Either way, I don't know. So either way, he did that stuff, but it was in a monetized setting. He was doing it on his show, The Mind of Mencia. He was making money at his his stand-up gigs. So it's like, it's a totally different environment where it's just you fucking around with your friends. And like, at the end of the day, there's plausible deniability. Even if you said, yeah, I did it. Well, you could just say, I was all part of the bit. And there's only one instance of it that we can show anybody. We can't show the Monster Rain stuff, even though you just admitted to it. So it's, you know what I mean? But it's like, so not my qualm, my interest is in this comedian label that you covet. But the contradiction, as I said earlier, I feel like a lot of what you say gets contradicted immediately, is in your interest in putting out that comedic content. You have no interest in doing the work to put it out. Not completely. You have written jokes before. You do at least show up for the podcast. But if I didn't edit it, if Tad didn't edit it, if the people's movies that you were in didn't make them, there would be nothing of you out there, on a comedic level. It's basically relied on the bulk of the labor is on somebody else. So why aren't you more invested in elevating yourself beyond the Joke Thief label to true comedian?
Just in terms of why? Because I don't really like completing anything.
Okay, but
on my own,
it's still important to you that you're not a joke thief.
Well, yeah, like if I would want to move into any kind of like comedy thing, that would be a bad look.
So why are you you're so concerned about making sure that you have the opportunity, but you have no interest in taking the opportunity?
Well, yeah, because that would involve completing something.
Yeah.
Why don't you like completing things?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, I just it's... Well,
since you recognize it,
yeah.
You can change it or get help to change it.
Yeah.
The old adage or cliche, the hardest part is admitting something, when you have a flaw or you have a problem or you need help. And the fact that you recognize that you don't like to complete things, and that is a problem, because you have a lot of things that are left unfinished, and some of them involve the effort of other people that would like to see those things finished, I'm sure, even if they don't straight up say it, because of course they want to. They put work into it. Since you recognize that, why don't you make the steps to try and correct that? Whatever those steps may be. Like I said, you may need some help, or you do it yourself, or whatever it is,
I don't think, my normal thing is I just ignore it and it eventually goes away.
Well, let me tell you something, man. As somebody who had 6 months of an anal fissure years ago, don't do that. It's just going to get worse until you have to go to a doctor who's going to put a scalpel up your butt. So
I want to enjoy that.
I remember those conversations with Ryan about that stuff. It was not fun.
Dude, it was awful. And maybe someday, I don't really talk about it, obviously, because it's a very private fucking thing to talk about having a fissure in your butt. But maybe we'll talk about it someday. But my point is, it's some things you can't just put off because they won't go away. It's, if you really want to do something like this, you want to do comedy, you want a life and entertainment, and whatever that means to you, you are going to have to face down this personal problem of not finishing, because nobody goes to see 5 minutes of an hour show. Mark Borchardt, the hero to all of us, nobody goes to see whatever 46 frames. They want to see 48 frames. You know what I mean? I'm talking about.
Yeah. That's a good clip.
You know what I mean? So nobody goes to see a third of the Joe Buckley thing, and then, well, we'll forgive that we didn't get to see the rest of it because he doesn't like to finish things. No. So you are going to have to, if you want to continue, you are going to have to address this. And I would be sooner than later. You're a young man, but you're also 26. You know what I mean?
Yeah, gonna be
you
27.
have a lot of stuff you have a lot of mountains you got to move before you can get to a point where you could be in that position. Just in life in general. So you have a lot of obstacles right now.
And you've got
in general.
You've got a lot of what am I trying to say? You're in a better position than most people when they first start, because you have a built-in audience already between our stuff and Tad's stuff, mostly Tad's stuff, and you've got people that are willing to help you complete things, and they have a track record of finishing things.
Yeah.
So it's like you have a lot of tools at your disposal, but this secret project that we've been mentioning over the last 4 or 5 episodes of stuff is it's not for lack of effort from other people. They want to see you complete. They want to help you complete, but there's a palpable tension there when it's brought up. Like, it's clear you aren't interested in talking about it because that means you have to do something.
No, I'm okay with bringing it up. I brought it up on Tad's show. So
no. I mean, I'm talking about you actually just doing it. I'm saying when I talk about it with you, I can tell in you that you don't necessarily. I'm not saying on the show. I'm just saying in general. Me bringing it up just reminds you that it's still sitting there waiting.
Yeah.
And you just don't see like you want to do it.
If you don't want to do it, it's fine. Just say you don't want to do it.
No, it's like I just see like all 3 episodes on there just still sitting on my desktop. Yeah.
And the only reason they're sitting on your desktop and not out is because you're not doing it.
Yes,
you know what I mean? So if it's one thing to be, waiting on something to be that, I did a web series that I'm so far the first 2 episodes I'm very proud of, but I realized I shot on that 5 years ago. I finished my scenes 4 years ago, and there is sometimes I feel this thing in my, I'm upset. I want to see it. I want to. When is it going to get done?
Because I think I still haven't seen you like in the episode.
You have not, no, and it's completely out of my hands. And there's a frustration there, but there's nothing I can do about it. But in this situation, the only person stopping it from coming out is you. And whatever you have left to do. So any hesitation or irritation you may feel when you see it sitting on your hard drive, you're in charge of making that go away. By finishing
Joe, you could literally get it done in 6 hours, and you could have three of a thing out in the public. I don't know what I can and can't say about it.
It's fine. It's a podcast with me and Old Man Higgins, and we recorded 3 episodes so far. 1 episode is very, very bad audio wise because I fucked it up. So it's like I'm sure it's listenable.
They truly don't care.
I don't even know which episode. I've listened to 2 of them, and I don't even know which one you're thinking has the messed up audio, because I think they both sounded fine.
The very first episode, I'm way too loud. Like I'm just clipping constantly.
Well,
the fans don't care, because I feel like you're bringing that up as a way to kind of protect you from what we're saying right now. Because that's usually the first thing you say when it gets brought up is, well, the first episode, and we've told you, don't release that as your first episode, which is what we did with The Man with No Brain. I don't remember what the first episode actually was. I don't anymore.
We put out 4, I think, first.
Yeah, but I think it wasn't in the order that we recorded them, is it?
No, I think what we did was we put episode 4. We put episode 4 on the other 2 channels because we thought that was our best episode.
Yeah, but we did label it as 4, and then we did record them. And so episode 1 was our first one, and our second one was our second one. And so we have been consistent with the
so
for the most part.
Yeah, with the labeling.
We at least put out what we thought was our strongest along with the first couple. So you put out episode 0 along with episodes 1 and 2, which you feel have improved, quality wise. So, I don't know if there's still, if it's like a razor thin, or if there's a long bridge here connecting this back to the trial. We want good things for you, and we don't want you to feel the heat of the trial oven. And the best way to do that is if you get out there and you start producing things on your own and getting new experiences, like the way I could say it now because it'll be out, the carnival, by doing those things, you create stuff. Because like the part of the reason why we haven't made a movie in years is, yes, I can lean on the argument of the budget for a couple of years, but if I really wanted to make something, I would find the money. Wouldn't necessarily be the right amount of money, but I would find it. I haven't done anything unique and new in years. I've been working the same job for 8 years now, or going into 8 years, which is the same amount of time that I've been working on those movies. So I'm not going to get any material out of work, except unless I have some weird random experience. It's been a lot of the same thing day to day. And then I go home, same thing day to day. I have nothing new to say. A lot of that stuff was built up from previous years and anxiety and shit from when I was a kid and whatever. I know you're not going to watch Butcher the Bakers and be like, Tyler Ann sure was anxious as a kid. But there's a lot of the fucking humor and like the plot of River City Panic is all about, it's not presented well in the film, but the concept was, what if 6 friends went out on the town and things were fucking crazy and they wanted nothing to do with it and they got wrapped up in it and everybody in town was just fucking dumb and crazy. That was my fucking 19-year-old way of viewing my hometown. Like, it's all there. It's very surface level. It's right there. But I don't have a lot of new things to say. So you're not going to have a lot of new comedy unless you start experiencing things. And the experience could just be the stress and frustration of learning editing software, of learning how to be motivated to do work. It takes work to learn how to work. But at the end of the day, it's worth it. Even when, and I tried to dig up the comment, I couldn't find it. Somebody blasted the prosecution on something, and I buried the comment, but I tried to dig it back up. But anyways, they just blasted us. And even then, like, as frustrating as it was to read that, it's like, I don't do this for you then, guy. I don't do it for you. I do it because I like hanging out with Ryan and Joe. I like doing it because I like getting the whole gang together. And I like that there's a handful of fans, I don't know, maybe 25 people on The Man with No Brain who are consistent commenters, and they consistently appreciate at least the effort. They may not like the content of an episode because it may be boring to them, but they at least appreciate that we put effort into this stuff. And I like that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we have like a pretty like good fan base for like our first like year.
And I will say
in terms of like, yeah.
And speaking of the trial, whoever made that video that kept, and maybe it's because I was front and center, and of course I'm going to love it. But when me slapping your neck, I watched it like 6. That was so funny, man. So whoever made that, that was props to that. It was just a short video where they showed me slapping your neck over and over from that. That was funny. So you made me laugh on that. Whoever made that was well done.
Yeah, maybe that's what me and Tad should have done, is just like take like all the instances, like the time like I licked the raw chicken, or like the time Ryan slapped my belly, and we could have just like made like a big like video of Joe abuse.
I mean, sure, but that doesn't.
I mean, if you made it, but you would have, you would be creating a defense. You know, the idea is you're defending the idea that you stole a joke, and so what your defense would be, you stole a joke out of fear or out of bullying. And that could be certainly a bit of defense, but for that defense to work, you'd also have to admit, yes, I did steal, but in my defense, I stole because of X, Y, and Z, and then hope your argument was strong enough, and our counter arguments are strong enough that to win over a judge that says, well, yeah, I could see where stealing my PB Hertz could have come from all those comedy bits. But the thing is, you've built up this world that it's all bits. Me slapping your neck, first of all, that was a sound effect, and Tyler added more red. Yes, I did hit your neck, but there wasn't a...
Yeah, I'm not saying that it didn't hurt, but there was no additional red when Ryan slapped Joe's neck. That is all me. Like,
is that real? You didn't add more red?
No. There was no red when you hit him.
Oh, okay.
In real life.
Because I was like, oh my God, I was thinking all this.
Me. The sound, everything. Okay. Not to say that
you just didn't realize your own strength.
I was about ready to apologize profusely, Joe, because I was thinking that, no, I did all that red because I knew you had a sunburn or something.
I assume Joe doesn't like being hit, period, but it was not as bad as it's represented.
No. So, but Joe, the thing is, you've also built up this idea and this persona that nothing bothers you. You are Teflon. As long as it's a bit, you'll lick the chicken.
Well, hold on a second here, Ryan. Hold on a second, because you're touching on something very interesting here. There is a part of the trial series that is very evident that Joe does not want to participate in the bit. Joe, from the beginning, has not been interested one bit in exploring the Tykables comedy angle. And this predates The Man with No Brain. So I remember seeing a news report because I believe it's in Illinois. I want to say McHenry, Illinois, which is up north by the suburbs. But, it's I don't know if this is a new location or something, but they had built this store, which is for adults to, I don't know what the term is.
It's baby fetish gear, kind of.
Yeah, but it's also their explanation is under the pretense that, you may want adult diapers, you may want this, and it has, and some of it's not sexual. It's just you may want to act like a baby. And so,
let me tell you, it's all sexual.
Well, hold on a second though. The people who opened the store, they were selling me on their position. All the people just being like, adults dress as babies. I don't want that shit in my town. Like they looked crazy.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's dumb. That part of it's dumb. But I mean, the whole gimmick is like it's a fetish.
Yeah. So like I was invested in that from the beginning because I was like, hey, that's my state. Look at you, big babies. And so the Tykables thing has been around a while, but you have never once wanted to bite. And I can't help but think that would be so funny for you to wear a Tykables, little Rars, short talls, whatever it's called, get a binky or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I'm not even joking, Joe. I think that the fans would think it's hilarious. But you're an adult man. You have control over your body. You would be doing it as the bit, but you don't want to. So I'm curious.
No,
why
I don't. I don't want to dress like a big baby. I just.
That's where Joe draws the line.
Yeah. I'm not really sure. It's just like something about it is just not appealing to me.
Well, I mean, like, do you think it's demeaning? Do you think it makes you? It literally makes you look like we could make you do anything we want? Do you think that it makes you look like you aren't in control of yourself?
I'm not really sure. I mean, it might be kind of the same thing if you put a dog collar on me and like maybe paraded me in front of town for a bit.
Is that you literally draw a parallel there? You think it's like the same thing? I'm not saying you would be wrong. That's just your position.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's like similar. I'm not sure.
Are you
I don't
saying
think I would be bothered by wearing a Tykables.
Are you saying, Joe, the comedic value of you in a Tykable is not worth the humiliation you would feel doing it?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah. I think I'm not sure it would be worth it.
I understand that. I understand as an actor. I mean, there are certain things I wouldn't do unless it was an incredible script or something. I mean, I'm not going to just show up on a movie set. Huh?
Would you do full frontal?
Give me 6 months with a trainer. All right. Yeah, so that's a vanity thing. It's not I would, a lot of actors I respect have done full frontal, either in comedies or dramas or whatever. So that never bothered me. Nudity has only bothered me on myself because I've never been happy with the shape of my body. I've got too much flab and that sort of thing. It has nothing to do with the genitalia part of it.
Yeah.
If I had a body, even not even like a Chris Hemsworth in Thor style,
like a Schwarzenegger.
Just a nice, it doesn't even have to be just a nice thin, abs and a fit body. Okay. Jean-Claude Van Damme style or something. I would have no problem with doing full frontal in a movie because I'd be like proud. I'm like, look at my body, man. Look at my form. But now, no, because it would, it has nothing to do. So I don't even want to go shirtless. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It would have to be something really funny or dramatic, something like that. I would feel vanity, but again, it depends on the project, how I feel about it.
And so for Joe, the man with no brain is not worth wearing a Tykables little Rars short talls.
Well, I'm not sure what projects would be worth it. That's a tough sell.
What about a Farley Brothers movie, Joe?
No, thank you. I'll take a Cohen.
What about David Lynch? David Lynch is making a Shakespearean film.
Okay.
He's doing Macbeth. Oh, did I cut out?
No, you're here.
No, you're okay.
Okay.
You're good.
We're just fascinated by the premise.
So David Lynch is doing, maybe it's a short film, I don't know what it is, but he's doing Macbeth. But everybody in the movie or in the scene is dressed the same. They're all wearing the Tykables. And for some reason, he comes across you, Joe, on the internet, and he's just fascinated with you and your voice. And he's like, I got to put him in somewhere. I got to fucking put him in the fucking movie. But the thing is, you got to do the whole scene smoking a cigarette, talking about Akira Kurosawa wearing the Tykables. Would you do that?
I think I might. Yeah.
Okay. So I mean,
it's all about the context.
It's all about
it's all relative.
Yeah, and I understand.
So
I have a question about the Tykables because I really didn't look into it other than what you guys put on. Are these just for fashion or whatever, or are they like workable? Like somebody's got incontinent and so they're buying these.
I believe you can poo
are
poo
they
in them.
functional?
Well, so
are they only being bought by certain kinds of, you know what I mean, for this fetish thing?
So Tykables is just the brand name for their adult themed baby gear. So that includes their diapers, their rompers, their clothes, their hoodies, their big teddy bears, anything baby related. So they do have a section for diapers. And
they do, but anybody who would be buying adult diapers because they can't control their pee and poo would be buying them from like Walgreens adult diaper section. They wouldn't be going on adultbabyfuck.com.
Hold on a second though, Joe. I think the baby fuck people, well, I'm sorry, I don't want to say, I think the people who want to be babies would know what comfort really is in a diaper. So
maybe they could, sure.
So hold on a second, I'll read this. They have the doubler booster pads. Tykables doubler booster pads for diapers are extra long, extra thick, and extra absorbent, about 200 or 2,500 milliliters each, making any daytime product a nighttime product and makes any extended or nighttime diaper even better.
Oh yeah, they know comfort.
They've got B grade diapers. I don't know what the grade means, but B grade
diapers. That's not quite as good as the A grade. Those are for people on a lower income, but they can still be big babies too.
Oh, okay. Oh, these are just their low grade diapers. These diapers function as any other Tykables product, but sometimes the inks are not aligned correctly. So they just sell their shitty diapers for cheap.
Yeah, yeah.
So they know
pre-worn diapers.
So their clientele for this is not your standard person with incontinence issues. These are people that are enjoy just dressing like this.
Yeah.
Is that what?
Yeah. Yes.
And fascinatingly, all of the models from this are like, they look like 20-year-old dudes and girls. Like,
they got life going for them.
Paid. Hey, they're getting their foot in the door. You know.
I just
models.
Think it would be like somebody who's 50 who's like their career's already over. It never even happened.
Yeah. Everybody looks like the guy from My Pillow.
Jesus, this guy's fucking ripped. He's wearing little camis, little briefs.
Aww.
But he's fucking.
I just want to take care of him myself. I just want to powder his butt.
Okay.
No, I'm just saying.
There's a movie from the 70s called The Baby, and it's
I heard about that. Yeah,
it's very odd. I recommend checking it out, but it's kind of a horror film, and it might even be on Amazon Prime. It's gotten out, in a lot more stuff over the years, but it is, and I haven't seen all of it to be honest with you. But it's about a guy, he's a full grown man, but I think the idea is his parents never like let him develop. They never, so he's a full grown baby. And he's in a crib and everything. Yeah,
his sisters are like getting him with the cattle prod whenever he misbehaves, and he's got like a big binky, and yeah.
I saw like maybe the first 15 minutes and years ago, and I didn't think it was a bad movie for whatever reason. I didn't finish it, and I haven't revisited it. But it's one that pops up a lot on like with those weird horror movies you haven't seen, and it's from the 70s, and but yeah, that's what I think of every time you talk about these Tykables.
This like the Tykables would be like an amazing present for the baby. He would love to get a brand new pair of Tykables.
Well, so Joe, I think the other elephant in the retrospective episode room is your thoughts on Tad's performance, both as your attorney and as some sort of internet comedian. Because I'll share my personal thoughts. I know Tad's going to listen to this, so I'll try and keep it short and concise. I appreciated Tad's dedication to the bit at first, but I think he ran out of steam really quickly, and he did make me laugh out loud a couple times when you guys were sitting on the couch. But I think overall the lawyer with the tag on the thing, like that played out really quickly, and then when we got to that last episode, again, so we had shot most of this back in March. And so when I finally got around to editing stuff and we hit that last episode, and I completely had forgotten he's like wearing, what could be a garbage bag, but it's just like a ripped open shirt. And he was
going for samurai.
And I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? And like, personally, I don't think anything that you two did landed in that last episode. I think one, because you were feeling the heat, and 2 because I think Tad literally just looked like he was tired.
Well, I think both of us are playing disappointed, kind of. That's what I was going for, at least.
Okay, but did you guys, if I recall correctly, did you forget that we were recording that day and whip that shit together in like 20 minutes?
Well, I think what happened was we recorded another podcast. I think we did a Let Me Tell You About that day.
Okay.
So we might have been out of steam from that.
Well, what are your thoughts on Tad?
I thought I appreciate that he came on and helped me out with my defense. I thought he did a good job.
Okay.
Yeah. Because I mean, like, I wouldn't know where else to get like a lawyer. I don't know any lawyers.
Would you actually look for a real lawyer?
Yeah. Son and Sons. I'm going to Son and Sons.
That would have been amazing, Joe, if you actually brought in a real lawyer and it was just like destroying everything we did because we don't know what we're doing. I would have loved that.
I just spent $1,000 on like an internet joke.
I think that's the only counter, Ryan, because we were playing it straight the whole way through. So, if you came at us even straight to harder, with a lawyer, like
ultimate straight man,
I think it would have scared me a little bit.
Yeah, I would have been like, man, my bullshit. I'm gonna have to up my bullshit. I was already high on my bullshit game. I was really gonna have to crank the bullshit and the double talk. If there would have been a real attorney coming in on it. My thing with Tad is he did what he wanted to do, whatever. But I really wish he would have been himself and tried to do a defense. Without the goof. I wish he would have come kind of at us as we did him, because Tad's got his own personality. He's got his own thing, as fans of his show know. And I felt he was out of his element doing these bits, because that's not the Tad I recognized from Let Me Tell You About. That, you know what I'm saying? And I think it would have been fun to for Tad to go head to head and be as serious as we were, just being himself, I think would have been something.
Well, and to kind of aid my point and double down on what Ryan was saying, a little fun fact here in the recording process of making these episodes. So, like I said, we recorded the initial episode back in, January something, and I think it got released in February. We did the second part, and then after that, we had recorded. We agreed the prosecution needs to do a video and the defense needs to do a video, because it'd be really fun if this goes to trial, that you could see our
all of our evidence and kind of
just what we were thinking before going into it, and it wouldn't get released until after the trial was done. That way, it didn't influence it. And so we did the nearly 2 hours of just kind of straight discussing it, with Nick and Trevor, and me and Ryan. But that the beginning of the defense video with the 6 minutes of just you and Tad on John's couch, that's what you guys turned in. That was it.
Yeah, we misunderstood kind of what we should be doing whenever we made that.
Well,
yes.
I don't necessarily think you misunderstood. I think that maybe just the motivation level wasn't there, because you guys were building an argument, or a defense that exists. We saw that. The issue is that I think you just didn't really want to have to lay it out and make it work to the people. You were going to wing it on the day, is my thought.
We thought you wanted a very general overview, which is why we did just like the basic points we kind of had.
Sure. Even though I told you we did 2 hours, but sure.
True.
So, but anyways, so when I was getting back in the swing of editing things again, I fucking knew. I'm like, after this hiatus, if I release 6 minutes of Joe and Tad and 2 hours of us just talking, the fans would not be happy. So, Joe, when I had to bring you guys back in to sit on my couch, and
it's a little bit nicer.
Sure, thank you. And,
it's comfy.
And watch all this stuff back. Is there anything that you gleaned out of that that you didn't realize before, whether it was from the fans' evidence, from you and Tad riffing on the couch?
I think we would have had like a real good shot of just using my pee-pee hurts like as a colloquialism. As like a thing that just like an infant says. It's kind of like in the ethos as like Like, anytime, like, a small child hurts their genitals, like, they only know how to say pee-pee, so they say, my pee-pee hurts.
But Joe, you're not a child. You're an adult man.
But that's what makes it funny. That's what would make it funny if a grown man was saying, my pee-pee hurts like an infant, and made that his catchphrase.
And my argument would have been, it's not just about the phrase, it's about the way you said it.
Yeah.
The way you said it from your favorite podcast about your favorite serial killer.
Well, my favorite podcast is Cum Town, I would like you to know. And I listen to I've listened to a couple different like serial killer podcasts. I like last podcast, I did My Favorite Murder, I did like Lore, they did some episodes on serial killers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's in the podcast world, that's big business. All the true crime stuff. That's huge.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You can make so much goddamn money if you just talk about people who got decapitated.
And we do on Malevolent Movies. It's just make believe.
Yeah.
The massacres going on in there are all on screen.
It's not quite as fun.
Joe, back to the trial. We Ryan and I in particular, as well as Trevor and Nick, put a lot of time and effort into that plea deal, like literally writing it out. We did research into what plea deals would look like. You know, trying to make sure
it's like 4 or 5 pages.
It's actually like 8 or 9, but anyways. But the whole idea here is that we wanted it to be as real as possible, and also we took elements from the Alford plea to make sure that it made sense. You know, we called it the Bubby plea. But was there anything in there that caught you off guard and you thought was funny? Whether or not you laughed out loud, which you really didn't, at least that we could see. But is there anything that you thought, okay, that is kind of funny?
Yeah, I thought the Zach Funko Pop thing was funny, because I'm always I'm always poking him in the side about his Funko collection, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah. Let me think. It would have been funny if Sean was still here, if I actually did go to like his open mic stuff and just kind of like follow him around and try to do his instruments for him.
Because you'd show up and he wouldn't know why you were there. He'd be like, what trial?
Yeah.
I don't think you'd probably never, the man with no brain, I don't think is so.
I think Sean is on Malevolent Movies circa 2019. So he'll get here in 2 more years. He'll get to the man with no brain eventually.
He'd be like, hey, Joe, what do you mean? What, you stole a joke? What joke?
Yeah, I'm your roadie now. I'm supposed to give you head.
Oh.
It was part of the agreement.
You're at the Lone Buffalo and you just yell at, and all these people.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to get Sean, when do I give the head?
Yeah, but they said you get to put a red snapper in me.
So there's something that I'm disappointed that you didn't mention here, and I'm trying to find the language. Okay. Count 1 carries a maximum penalty of an up to 24 hours live stream, yada, yada, yada. Defendant further understands that with respect to count 1, the judge may also impose the wearing of a Tykables little raw snappy shortalls and XXL adult diaper. The judge may also impose that the defendant admit on said live stream to having committed autosodomy with the aid of one's own feces. Now, for the fans at home, this is a long-running inside joke amongst our gang. I don't remember when it happened, but there was a time where we chanted, Joe fucks his own ass with a turd.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
Joe fucks his ass with a turd. Joe fucks his ass with a turd.
God, I don't know where that came from. If that was in a Malevolent Movies video episode that didn't go up, or if that was just something I don't know when it started, it
might have been around a recording, but I don't think it's in a recording. I think it was just us fucking around.
Yeah, and I don't know where it came from. I don't know what created the concept. I don't know where the imagery came from. All I know is that we were chanting that for weeks.
Yeah, it's just you're picturing me naked, just completely like bent over with a hand mirror with a big solid lump. Just I understand.
Did when we said that, or when Ryan read it, did you understand what it was from?
No, I remembered that. Yeah.
Okay, I was really hoping that you would say something about it, but you didn't. You were awfully quiet about it.
Yeah.
I just didn't want it to become reality, you know? I want to keep things out of my ass, even my poop, even my own poopy.
You said some things that make me question that, Joe.
What?
Well, I think you said at the top of this episode something about lubing up and digging in your ass or something.
Well, who knows what a comedian says about their own ass?
That reminds me, one of the things, my girlfriend's parents own a couple of car washes as like a side venture. And she sometimes goes and helps clean them up, go and make sure the garbages aren't overflowing, maybe once or twice a week, just for some extra cash here and there. And the other night she went out there and they get some rocks and kind of behind, and some people throw junk back there. And in the rocks, there was a butt plug. And she took a picture and sent it to me. And I was like, where the fuck is this?
You should have brought it home for some playtime.
I said, don't bring it home without, hitting it with some sanitizer. Just think you're gross.
Yeah. Free butt plug.
But like, I'm thinking about, like, you go to the car wash and, a lot of people take that moment to throw their crap away. Sometimes they throw fistfuls of coins in the garbage, or they just suck up all the coins with the vacuum cleaner, and we take those out. We'll take them to Coinstar and get like $50.
Oh, hell
it's crazy. It's crazy that what people throw away. But just like somebody was cleaning out their car at the car wash, was like tossing shit out. McDonald's cup here and old Kohl's receipts, and like, oh, butt plug.
Well, I don't need this no more. I already took it. I graduated to a bigger one. I don't need this one.
There's just a bigger world going on there that I wish I would have known about. What the fuck? What's the story behind the butt plug being in the rocks?
I think what might have happened was they were washing off their car, right? They got the car all nice and clean and sparkly, and they were like, you know what? I still have this butt plug jammed up in here. Let me just get my ass a little hosing. And then you take it, and throw it away.
It was like a pink diamond. Or I don't know what the hilt. I don't know what they call it.
That's my biggest fear, is that Joe's going to be just like leaving my house one day. I'll be standing in my garage waving goodbye to him. And then all of a sudden I'll just see something rolling down the inside of his pant leg, and it'll just roll out onto my driveway. And then we'll just both look at it. We'll both look at each other. I'll turn around, walk inside, and then I'll look on my camera, because I have a camera in my garage, and I'll see Joe go get in his car, turn it on, drive down the road, come back, get out, pick it up, and then go.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So, and being Joe, it's going to have a tail hooked to it. Probably a cat tail, but it could be any sort of animal. Horse tail, I don't know.
Something weird. It'll be like a rat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just, I want to fuck the rats from Secret of Nim. That's my fetish.
Oh, God. Don't ruin a decent
a good kids
movie. Yeah.
Have you seen The Secret of Nim, Joe?
I haven't, no. I mean, maybe whenever I was like a little kid, I might have.
Yeah.
I want to fuck all the rabbits from Watership Down.
Okay. Just changing the name of the IP, the joke was the same.
Oh, what? It's fine.
I have a question for Ryan.
Yeah.
Ryan, out of all the saga of the trial, the 6 episodes and everything in between, because this bled into real life a little bit, what was the most satisfying thing for you?
Honestly, was watching Joe's face crumple when we hit him with the evidence, and he was like, wait a minute, what evidence? Or like the episodes of the show. Well, what exactly pieces from it? Like, he wanted us to tell you which lines, like it, we're like it mattered. I mean, it was just watching all of a sudden, because we knew he hadn't been taking this seriously. We knew that he and Tad were not really putting much effort into it, as the 6-minute video previous we knew about. So all of this, it was just that moment where all of a sudden the facade dropped and Joe quit stroking the fish or whatever, and the shit became real. And the Plex was part of it. And it was just that moment of satisfaction. Mr. Joe Buckley always throwing a bit, always doubling down. In that moment, though, it was like, I could hear the record scratch in his brain. Like, wait a minute, what? Well, hold on a minute. And even Tad knew, because Tad's like trying to calm Joe down. He's like, no, trust me, I got this. And that was the satisfying moment, because that was the moment where it felt like all the bullshit I've been diarrheaing out of my mouth in each of these videos, something actually hit Joe and stuck a little bit. I was like, okay, it's all working.
You finally got me.
One moment, I was like, oh, something I said broke through the silly little skit that we'd been watching with the two of them, and actually got to Joe. And I was like, all right.
So Joe, in the pre-trial video, it famously ends on a cliffhanger where you announce that you would like to take the plea. Now, did you know that you would probably do that going into that recording? And 2, by the end of it, did Tad know that you were going to do it, or is his look of surprise true shock?
Yeah, no, we both had no idea. We were gonna do the trial.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So what Ryan just said, that really did get you.
I just I didn't know what I was up against after that, so I was like, okay, I'll just take it.
Well, you could know if you listen to your own show. Joe?
Huh? Yeah.
Perfect example. Not even listening.
No, I'm listening.
Okay.
It used to be Joe didn't listen to the shows after they went up. Now he doesn't listen to the shows as they're being recorded.
Yeah.
I think that's a good way to do it.
He's one step ahead of the game at this point.
Oh my God.
So when you stopped recording that cliffhanger plea deal episode, what did Tad say to you when we were all done?
He was fine with it. I mean, it was my decision, so he was fine with it. I think he wanted to go to trial. I think that would have been fun, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Did he have any big ideas for the trial? Like,
No, not
bit-wise?
really. I think we might have whipped the gun out. I'm not sure.
Well, okay, so in that episode, that recording goes on for about another 15 minutes, where we are in a more honestly discussing the elements of the plea deal, which I didn't want to give away because it kind of undermined the whole gag with the actual plea. But it does end with you taking the gun from Tad and pretending to shoot him. So I don't know if that's what Ted meant in the next episode where he's talking about how he's a new man, if he meant literally because you had killed him or what. But it was just, I just couldn't not end it on that moment when you say that and Tad's face of, "Gah?"
Yeah, that was a great spot to end it.
And a little bit of a return or Joe Victory in there from
Joe Victory, Egon's Unicat, Joe Victory, Line of Freedom. I stole the name so I could use the song.
We're never going to let you go,
Roger
Sean.
Corman style.
Yeah. So, okay, that's interesting to know, because I thought maybe you guys knew you were going to do that. You were going to take the plea already. So that's interesting. It puts a little bit more weight behind that moment then, for me.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I was kind of like, I was going over the options in my head as that was going on. That's why I kept saying like, oh, I need more time.
Okay. And that's why I was giving you more time.
Oh, yeah.
I said you could take time. I had to repeat it 80 times because
I understand.
I was like, they're just not hearing me.
Now, no, Joe, if we had gone to trial and you were actually found guilty, would you have been legitimately upset?
I mean, maybe. I mean, I think it would kind of depend on if people were just kind of like listening to the kind of like defenses I were laying out or not, or if I thought like I would maybe got steamrolled or something like that. I'm not sure.
So you would hope that the fans would come to your defense and overturn it, much like the insurrection. They would come and overturn the verdict of the trial.
No. I just mean in terms of like the judge and you guys, if I was able to get my arguments out.
Oh, you would have, yeah. We would have followed proper trial procedure. There would have been opening statements, closing arguments, all of it.
Yeah. It would be cool if the fans just demanded my release. That would be cool.
I mean, but there's really no stakes, and they can demand. I mean, what are they going to do?
They might send Poopy to our mailboxes.
Not share the videos. I think
they've got your address. They don't got mine.
I give my address out to people who want it. That's fine. People can just have my stuff.
I know you do, and that's bizarre to me.
Yeah, whatever. Well, it's like anybody can find out where anybody lives pretty much just by searching it, so I'm fine with that.
But you live like 18 different places, and then they just kind of...
Yeah. Whatever. It's fine. If people want to send me a bomb in the mail, that'll be an interesting story.
Don't do that. Not even as a joke.
What?
God, the last thing you need, Joe, is the actual FBI showing up to your house.
I would chat with the FBI
because they'd probably have a dog that can sniff all sorts of things out. I don't even want to know.
Data. They can They can sniff out megabytes.
They might actually be able to do it. I bet they have dogs that can sniff out like technical equipment, like hard drives or something.
I've just got it hidden under my bed. I've got them jammed underneath my mattress.
I don't want to know what's in them.
I was gone for a little bit. The internet was gone. I came in with talking to my dog sniffing and Joe jamming something in his bed.
Yeah, we were talking about like the FBI showing up to his house because of the potential bomb a fan would send, and then what they find as well while there.
They get me for a glass hitter and a bunch of stolen movies.
Well, the FBI shows up and says, "We know a bomb has been sent to this building, and it's in this package." And they open it up, and it's just Twin Peaks: The Return.
No, it is a bomb. It is No, it's a bomb of creativity. It exploded over the television screen and changed it forever.
We have to call in the experts. We were not prepared for a bomb this huge and this heavy and this intense.
So Joe was at my house. I don't remember what it was, Joe, if it was me giving you I think it was me giving you the recorder to go to the carnival episode. And Joe tried to squeeze in on my
redacted.
And he was talking with me and Lisa. We were in my kitchen. I said, "Nope, Joe, no, you can't do it. Like
I'm taking it back."
No, hold on a second. I said, "Absolutely not, Joe. You can't say it." And you're like, "No, I can. The trial's over." I'm like, "No, that's the point of the trial. You've been convicted. You're guilty. You can't use it anymore." And he's like, "Well, I'm going to take
redacted.
it back."
Redacted.
Back. But he said it in a way that it was very Joe when he wants to know, well, what's the evidence that you're using? It was very much like that. Joe did not like me telling him no. And so, Joe, I'm telling you right out the gate, if you try to pull him
redacted
in any of this, in fact, every time I say
redacted,
it's getting bleeped. It's all getting bleeped forever.
It's like, speaking of Tarantino, it's like Beatrix Kiddo saying her name every time in Kill Bill. It gets bleeped.
Not in part 2, though.
Well, we're not
I'm
talking
thinking this
about
is
that.
the part 2. This is the part 2 of
This
Kill
ain't
Bill.
volume 2. This is volume 1.
It should be. No, I think now it's kind of like it's a meta thing. It's like a thing about the show. So it's like I'm taking it back.
You're not taking it back. And if there was ever a chance of you taking it back, there needs to be time between your conviction via plea deal and when you take it back. The dust you haven't even done your punishment yet. So no, there'll be no taking it back. If you're going to use that phrase, and I'm not even going to say it, if you're going to use that phrase, it's got to be in the privacy of your own home amongst your cousin. But if you say it on other medium, you say it on let me tell you about, or passing the whatever your show, no, that's part of the plea deal, Joe. And the idea, and our end of it is we won't bring this up again. We're not going to bring up this subject again. We're putting it behind us. That was our end of it. That was part of our deal, is that we'll put this to bed. After the punishment, it's done. We're not going to constantly call you Joe the joke thief or remind you about it. We're putting it behind us and moving forward, which we assume is what you want.
Yeah. But it's like even OJ got to write his book if I did it.
Joe, if you want to write an entire novel about this experience, and all you have to do is avoid the phrase
redacted
throughout it, go for it. By all means. Again, add to the Kaufman level of comedy here and just keep extending it.
Yes. That's the only way I'm going to say it right here. That's the only way you're allowed to use the phrase. If you want to sit down and write an entire novel or a autobiography of your experience of this trial, and then you can, and you have to give it to us and let us read it. And after we read it, then maybe we'll talk.
But also,
so
Joe,
there you go.
Why even go back? Why even want to do it anyways? Because you've done it enough. You know, even you have toned down the yeahs over the years. Like everybody, we've heard it. You know, it would be like if what's his nuts from fucking The Big Bang Theory, after the show was done, he kept saying bazinga.
Shebang! Oh yeah, bazinga.
Yeah. Shebang!
Shebang!
But it's like there you go. There's your new one, Joe.
You got to leave it on the floor. This was the mic drop moment for My Pee-Pee Hurts. It was dragged over 4 or 6 months, whatever it is, and like 12 hours of content. But hey, it was a big blowout. It had its day. And I'm not saying it's time for a new fucking catchphrase. I'm just saying it's time for some new comedy.
Yeah.
I got a new one. I got a new catchphrase already.
What is it?
Shebang!
Mike.
No, it's too much like
redacted.
Yeah.
No, it's completely different. It's a leakage. There's leakage involved.
No, I don't want your catchphrase to be a complaint about something malfunctioning on your body. I want it to be something new. Not any. I don't care if it's your toe, your butthole, your left earlobe. I don't want to hear about any part of your body for the next catchphrase.
Oh, my toe's in my butthole. That's a good catchphrase.
I think your catchphrase just can't even start with the word "my." Yeah.
Well, I mean, the whole thing of the catchphrase is, I mean, I thought, like, going in, that's like a ridiculous catchphrase. I might as well try to make it happen. And that would be how it's funny.
I don't think you put that much thought into it. I think you said
Redacted.
they got to laugh, so you did it more.
Yeah.
I don't think
And
you were sitting there
really
thinking about
pushed it. And you know I
culturing
pushed
a
it.
catchphrase.
Yeah, catchphrases like, what the hell? Speaking of Andy Kaufman, God damn it. Henry Winkler, the Fonz.
Hey.
Hey. or Tim Allen doing his noises. Or it doesn't have to make sense necessarily, but it's something that catches on.
Joe, if you want to do Tim
dumb
Allen's
as hell,
thing, you
but
can
that
do
was
it.
your thing.
Wait, you said I could steal Tim Allen's thing?
Yeah, do the Tim Allen thing. Because you just hearing it out of you, it's just
Here, Joe. Let's say the Tim Allen thing is your borrowed catchphrase, and we're gonna you figure out a good place to use it now. All right. So, hey Joe, my door to my bedroom, the hinges are broken. I need to know: do I use a 6/5 socket wrench, or do I use a chainsaw? What sort of Binford tool should I use?
Why don't you use
Makes no sense, but I knew it make me laugh.
I thought that's how Tim Allen. I thought that's what his character would do.
Jesus, Joe.
Hey Joe, how many old Japanese cartoons did you steal for your Plex this week?
Oh yeah. Oh, I'm Tim Allen. I really like them.
No, Joe, what you should have done is you should have gone, did I do that?
Oh, Urkel. Yeah,
Urkel.
I like Urkel.
Oh, fuck you. Where did you hear that from? Where
What
did
do
you
you mean?
hear Urkel from?
I thought that was an episode where he's cool Urkel, and like he's Urkel, and he tries to get in that woman's pants.
Okay.
I know there's an episode where he's like, isn't he? I think he's playing his cousin. His cool cousin.
I believe it's something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
I don't remember if there was a name. I mean, I know he had a name, obviously, but I don't know. I don't think it was Urkel.
I believe it was Urkel, and he was
Okay,
sly, and he was trying to get into this chick's panties.
I'm reading this, so I don't know the actual phonetic way I'm supposed to say this, if that's even the right word. Stefan Urkel, Urquelle, is an alter ego character of Steve Urkel. So I don't know. Maybe Joe is right on this.
It makes sense.
I believe I saw something like that. Yeah,
because that makes sense. I
figured you were just saying you didn't want to say Urkel because people online call him Urkel.
Oh yeah, well, it's too plebeian for someone like me, for someone of my fine tastes. Yeah.
Why the fuck are anyone still talking about Family Matters on the internet, Joe? Get a different group. Go to a different forum. Come on.
No, I love my forums.
What forum?
I go to r/.
Are you gonna be on the step-by-step one next?
No. I go to r/true film. The movies got taken over by the squares, so we went over the true film. Yeah.
Okay. But you can't really talk about anything if you don't see it.
No, I can talk about the lighthouse if I wanted to.
We should just rip off that entire, and because we're saying we're ripping it off, we're okay. Rip off that entire Stefan Urkel thing and make an alternate Joe. What would be the cool Joe Buckley?
Maybe Joseph Buckley.
No, it wouldn't be. It would be. What's a cool way to say Joe, or an exotic way to say Joe?
It'd probably be like Jack.
Jack.
Just
Jack Buck.
Joke.
Jose. No.
And he's the cool cousin from the city.
What the fuck is going on?
I accidentally kicked my cup over. I'm sure there's Mountain Dew leaking now.
It sounds like you kicked the metal canister that would hold fresh cow's milk over. Are you milking yourself?
No, I am not milking
out of a hubcap.
No.
The Buckley family's so down and out now. They sold all of their cups and they just they drink out of the one hubcap they still have
he
left
went
on
to
the
the Fast
Oldsmobile.
9 premiere. He got his token hubcap popcorn bucket or whatever.
You got the Dominic Toretto hubcap.
Yeah. Joe,
no, we have fancy silverware now. We have metal cups and we have metal straws.
Okay.
Anyways, well, I'm just saying, yeah.
Joe, do you think you could survive an entire episode of the show as an alternate character? You couldn't break character. Do you think you could do 60 to 90 minutes as a cool Joe?
I mean, I'm not sure Because I believe I am cool. I'm one of the coolest people
No,
I know.
You know
so
what we mean? We mean classic cool. Fonz cool.
Yeah.
I'm just
think
not
about
really.
Steve Urkel and how he became cool. He went from being obnoxious with the voice, saying the wrong things, wearing the bad clothes, and then when he was Stefan, he was cool. He said the right things. He had a nice timbre to his voice. He wore the right kind of clothes. He said the right things. So, what would the Joe Buckley version of that
See
be?
that? Yeah. That I'm not sure because I'm not really sure. Like, I'm not sure what's cool nowadays. I know like a '90s cool.
Well, we would start with your hair.
But it's a
You'd get it-
podcast.
You would get a trendier, shorter haircut with some product in it,
Yeah. See that I take issue with right there.
and you would get contact lenses,
Ugh. Those hurt my eyes.
or at least cooler glasses. Little.
You get some
More
big fat hipster frames.
Yeah, get some big frames.
I
Get
could
some
get empty.
1950s
I could
glasses
get
like
empty
mine.
glasses.
Let's see what I mean. Let's go into just from a cosmetic standpoint.
Yeah, fingerless gloves.
You'd have to grow. You'd have to grow in stubble. I stand by this that you look better with stubble. You had some stubble in those pictures from the carnival, and it looked all right. And with your hair messed up, you look better. I thought.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
You know what I mean? You look a little wilder.
We've made the comment multiple times that when you slick your hair kind of over and back, and you take your glasses off, you look like a young Dan Aykroyd. And Dan Aykroyd back in the 70s, man, he's a handsome dude.
Oh hell yeah!
I always wanted to be a Blues Brother.
Well, be a Blues Brother, not a Blues Brother 2000.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, that movie was frightening.
Did you see it?
No, never.
Okay.
You see, I've at least
Have you seen Blues Brothers? Have you seen the first Blues Brothers?
That I haven't seen. No.
Jesus
Come on, dude! You live in Illinois. It's a rite of passage. You live. If you live within an hour and a half of Chicago, you have to watch and love the Blues Brothers.
I've seen Ferris Bueller.
Well,
you probably were forced to watch that like on a fucking car ride, to the Indiana Beach or something.
Yeah, in the portable DVD player. How I loved my portable DVD player as a boy.
Yeah, we know. You've mentioned it. And how you interrupted family gatherings to say, you guys want to watch Little Nicky?
No, I would never watch Little Nicky. Absolutely not.
Have you seen Little Nicky?
Yeah, I have.
No, fuck you.
Never. No.
God.
Ozzy Osbourne shows up at the end.
Well, good for him. Good for fucking him.
It's fun. I know Ozzy means nothing to you, but hey, it's not always nice to see Ozzy.
It's harmless, benevolent fun, Joe.
Yeah. I don't see it like that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, man, Adam Sandler's got like one. I don't know what I just heard the other day, but who was talking about that? Adam Sandler is like loved. He's got like the best reputation amongst professionals. Everyone in Hollywood loves him. He's just a nice dude. Like you can hate his movies, but it's hard to hate Adam Sandler himself.
I don't know. Why if he's so beloved, how come in all these documentaries he's with like a brand new woman? Like one of them forgot her memory. One of them is from hell. One of them's animated.
Because it's just scenarios where you can mine comedy, and they're very easy. Another thing is they're very easy to understand in other languages.
So you're saying like there's like a big dubbing scene. The movie's
going to play well in other countries too, because these are all concepts that everybody can understand. You know what I mean? And mine for comedy, because it's not just about American dollars, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You gotta get those Chinese dollars.
Especially be not about American dollars at this point. Yeah.
Do you think that Adam Sandler would play well in China?
I mean, it probably, because a lot of it's just physical humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It may not be funny if their culture isn't into that sort of physical comedy, but as far as understanding what's going on in the stories, nothing about him. Most of his stories are, American only. It's about the son of the devil is going up and getting wacky adventures. Everyone can understand that. I mean, you know what I mean? The translation isn't super hard.
Yeah. You know what? I bet there's actually like a pretentious like Chinese film viewer, and he's like, I prefer my Adam Sandler films to be subtitled, not dubbed.
I'm sure there's that in every country. There's somebody like that in every country.
Yeah. I always prefer subs.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh boy.
Joe Buckley.
Well, that was yeah.
I was just saying, there you have it. That's for those who are tired of the trial. Don't worry. except for the live stream. That's wrapping up our trial series with this episode. But wanting to hear a little bit from Joe himself, the truth about how he felt about the entire process, because as the process was going on, our conversation with Joe was limited. It wasn't, so we didn't really know how Joe, at least I didn't. I know Tyler had more insight, but I would say myself and the rest of the fellas, we didn't really have as much one-on-one and insight into Joe's thought process during the trial as we normally would be. So it was good to hear Joe's honest thoughts about the whole process.
And it was good that Joe dug a hole even deeper 10 minutes into this episode. Ryan, as we go, I have the list of the what the fuck are they called? The damages that Joe is going to be paying restitution to. I have the list of the 8 charges of damages that Joe will be following through on. He has to be Sean's roadie. He has to do a beach workout with Nick. He has to look at Zach's Funko Pop collection. He has to do a real and well done resume for Trevor. He owes you an apology. He owes me some wings. He has to do stand-up comedy for The Man with No Brain, and he has to do a commentary for Dr. Sleep for Malevolent Movies. So I know which ones he's going to do and which ones he's not. Now, we're not going to tell you ahead of time, and during the live stream, we will show the clips of Joe participating in those, in paying restitution to certain individuals. And so it's going to be a surprise for you which ones he does and does not follow through on. I think you're going to be happy with the result, though. I will say that much.
Okay.
There's a video clip of just Tyler he's got a little bit of sauce in his beard and he's just smiling. He's happily chowing down. And then it cuts to me and I've got one single tear flowing down my cheek because I get no wings.
Dude, we're doing that on a live stream. I want those wings with me. Yeah, and I'll pop into the frame every now and again and say hi with a little bit of sauce on me, and I'll eat some in front of you. But you got to watch me eat that. Hey, you know what I'll get you? I'll get you a can of LaCroix and some carrots. Have a good time.
Yeah. That's my favorite food and drink of choice.
And Joe, I'd appreciate when Tyler is eating the wings. His face may get a little messy, so you can wipe his face off.
Yeah,
with a nice wet nap or something. I want you to tend to his needs.
Okay, I'll lick it off for him.
No, ew, no.
Well, like the family dog.
That's repulsive. Jesus.
Oh, and Tyler, I may have to take a couple outside breaks during the live stream. I just might have to go make potty, try to chase down the cicadas. I'm just letting you know ahead of time.
That's not how it works. There's a bathroom that is 20 yards away from the couch. You get 5 minutes in there. I'm going to time it.
Okay, you're going to film it.
Paused. We pause.
What will happen is the live stream will keep going, but the timer's paused. I will grab the camera and a hose, and I'll spray you on the toilet if you don't get up. Yeah, you don't like that, do you?
No, it's exactly like whenever Bam Margera slapped his fat father in the stomach a bunch of times.
I'm going to slap you with some water.
And the thing is, Joe, you're going to have to prepare. I think you're going to have to do some training when we get closer to the day, because you've got to train yourself to, you got to watch your diet. I don't want you to have stomach issues during this 12-hour stream. You got to get used to being awake for 12 hours or however long it is. You got to get used to sitting in one spot. I mean, you may have to train a little bit to get ready for this day.
You know what would be interesting, Ryan? What if we give Joe like a box, like a 1 foot by 1 foot box or something? Joe can fill that with whatever snacks and drinks he wants, but that's all he gets. So he has to pick, and he has to be selective. He can't just bring everything in the kitchen sink. Something like that.
Yeah. You're saying no hot food allowed.
No, you could put like something. You could go get McDonald's, put it in the box or whatever. But that's all you get. I'll go keep it warm for you. We can keep it warm, but it has to be, everything has to fit in there. Whatever size
pop
this
it
box
back in the oven.
Sure, I'll burn the shit out of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and what your beverage is and that sort of thing.
Okay.
I would recommend, Joe, being an MRE enthusiast, you get some beverage-based powder, some
Oh,
drink
powder. I
Then
love
you can-
powder.
No, because then you can put a bunch of it in the bottom of that. It doesn't take up much space. And then you can say, because prisoners are allowed water,
Absolutely.
Tyler's going to have to give you glasses of water so you can make the drinks. That's going to save space on your box as far, because if you put a cans of soda in there, that's going to fill up a lot of that space.
Joe, you know what?
Tyler.
I'll give you. I'll let you have a bucket of water and a tray of 2-day-old dry bread from Jimmy John's.
I was gonna say prisoners also get bread, so can I please have grilled cheese? I'd like the mozzarella just kind of like crumpled lightly on the top. And then like some Swiss in the middle, and some provolone then.
You would hate that. You would hate that sandwich. Yeah.
Okay.
Because you claim to love cheese, but really you like red hot orange American cheese.
I like cheddar.
Yeah, or
He's
whatever.
like, if my cheese isn't square, thin, and come in a plastic wrap, I don't want nothing to do with it.
I like American. American's good. I like Swiss. Hell yeah.
Really?
I'm surprised.
I'll like it
Me
on a
too.
burger. I'll eat it on a burger.
Oh
But
wait,
you
are
wouldn't
you
eat
one
it
of
by
those
the
people
slice?
that's like, I like me a good bacon or a fucking mushroom and Swiss burger?
I'll partake on occasion.
That's
That's
a
what Joe about
catchphrase.
burgers. It's like asking a paleontologist about some exotic bird that he discovered. He really puts a lot of thought into it. Like he's the only person on earth who's ever spoken about the subject.
Well, I just found myself
let's see here.
a red-breasted rooster. It's the first one in the world. This rooster got red titties. Mm-hmm.
Red titties. Bow, bow, bow.
Yeah.
Grr, grr.
Grr.
That's where we're at. We're just grunting at this point.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
I like to make monkey sounds.
Oh God.
Well, so yeah, we got an exciting live stream coming up, everybody. So, and I think it's going to be a good time. Can you imagine? You leave, you watch Joe for a little bit, you go out, you go to dinner, you do whatever, maybe go to work, and you come back and you turn on the TV and Joe's still sitting there. It's like having Joe. It's just like so much Joe. For those of you that love and can't get enough of Joe, you're going to get a full day of Joe.
You're gonna be chock full of Joe.
And then that live stream, I assume we'll leave it up, on the channel. And so if you miss some, you can always go back. If you miss hours 3 to 6, you can watch those 3 hours. You're not going to want to miss a single minute of this live Joe Buckley.
Yeah. And actually, I was gonna say, like, a lot of people do it where, like, if you like donate some amount of money, like, the person will like read out your comments. So we can maybe do that to get Tyler some cash.
Yeah. There's a way that, whatever the way that
Wow,
does it,
Joe.
I think that would be,
Thank you very
be
much.
good.
Yeah.
Super chat. What do they call it? Super chat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna nitro boost it. I'm gonna nitro boost the chat.
Zach's gonna help me get this all set up because he is a live streamer himself.
Oh, that's
So,
right. Yes.
We should be
Right.
dressed to the nines, doing it accurately. The one unfortunate thing though is that Joe is going to be watching a lot of stuff. He's convinced himself it's exclusively going to be bad movies, but there's going to be some interesting things interspersed in there. But we won't be able to show that because, and you won't be able to hear it because we don't want to get a copyright strike and just get taken down. So we will have overlays that will let you know what's upcoming. Maybe we can even try, if you wanted to watch along with them, you could sync it up at home. But we can't announce what that stuff is until after it happens because Joe just
I gotta
can't
have
know.
the surprise.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, what if I play one round of PUBG with Zach?
I don't think Zach plays PUBG.
He does COD. He does Call of Duty.
I don't think Zach wants to play anything with you.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand. I'm not a very good teammate.
Well,
Yeah.
I steal all the guns.
I don't think it's that.
Yeah.
No, okay. I'm wandering the battlefield. I've got 85 pistols in my backpack and Zach has none. And he's begging me, Joe, please, all I need is one pistol and I'll be able to win this for us. I'm like, I might need it later.
Joe, do you hear that?
What?
Do you hear that? All of your supposed jokes just flying over me and Ryan's head because we're
You're
playing
not
fucking
gamers.
games.
You're not epic cool gamers.
No. I'm thankful.
Mm.
But
I don't have that
the
title.
audience knows, Ryan.
Yeah.
Hey, if you thought that joke was funny from Joe, then good. I'm glad you got a smile from it. I don't know what the fuck he was talking about. It made me sleepy.
Mm. Well, you should be excited. Games are cool. Video games are the coolest thing a person could ever play.
When you get into the video game stuff, I have no doubt what you're saying is probably true and real and funny to those who are into it. But man, it's not going to move my needle. You know.
I understand.
I got nothing to add to it. In other words, you know.
Okay.
Goddamn you, Joe Buckley.
I know. I'm sorry.
Goddamn you, Joe Buckley.
All right. Hey, cool Joe, take us out.
Yeah, we're getting with you with the ones and twos.
I said cool Joe, not pervert Joe.
Oh damn! I thought you said sex
The
pest
ones and the
Joe.
twos.
Yeah, sex pest Joe.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. Well, you know, I gotta take off too, fellas. I got some frisbee golf to go do. I'm gonna go down a couple IPAs. I'm gonna get crunk. So yeah, I'll talk to you bros later, you broskies.
I'm not. We've been on this fucking thing too long. I'm not even gonna touch that, Joe. I'm not even gonna come at you
Okay, I understand. Thank you then.
for your nonsense. But that's fine. That's cool, Joe. Everybody drinking IPAs and playing frisbee disc golf.
All right.
Yeah.
And we're out with a whimper.
That's on brand. Joe, what are you doing?
Oh, I accidentally kicked the metal again.